But let me go back to this brother's question now. James says, did Abraham commit adultery? No, I don't know of Abraham committing adultery. James, if you're still here, I don't know of Abraham committing adultery. If you're referring to Hagar, when he lied with Hagar, if that's what you're referring to. Because what adultery is, matter of fact, let me get it. Because I think a lot of people don't understand adultery from the standpoint of the woman and adultery from the standpoint of the man. Most people try to make it as one thing when it's not one. The law that goes for the woman is not the same way for the man. Let me go to Leviticus 20 and verse 10, I think. It says, and the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he that committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to unalivement. So a married woman, a woman that has a man, goes with another man, that's adultery for that woman. Now, if a man has a wife and he is looking for a replacement wife, you ever hear some man in the street telling women, oh, I need somebody to replace the woman at my house? That's adultery, because you cannot replace one woman with another. You guys understand that? Where's the scripture in, is it Mark, where Yahushua was explaining to them that you cannot put away your wife? Okay, let me try to find it. Give me a second. You cannot replace one woman. You cannot replace your wife with another woman. That's adultery. There's nowhere in the law that tells you to replace a woman. And this is why you see people create so many chaotic relationships. This is why I always tell women, never get into a relationship with a man who is in the process of divorcing his wife, is divorcing his wife, is going through a breakup. Don't get involved with these people. Because what happens when they end up reconciling? You're going to get this shitty end of the stick. Because he's going to have a long-term memory with that woman that he's trying to break up from. So you coming in the picture new, what do you think is going to happen? You're going to be fighting a long struggle, hoping that one day, and this is a very dangerous thing, with the hope of love to come. That's the terriblest thing a person can face, hoping that one day he will love me. Don't put yourself in that position. Make sure the divorce is completed before you think to even do that. Don't let any man tell you that, no, I'm breaking up with my wife, or we're going through a phase. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Go do a survey with all the women who put themselves in these situations and see what the outcome is like. It never turned out good for them. So let me try to find this where Yahushua was expounding on. All right.
In question relating to a follow-up question to James' question.
Yeah.
To you, Cosmic. All right.
Yeah.
Is it because Abraham got the consent from Sarah to be with Hagar for it not be defined as adultery?
No. Okay. When you have this is why there's a difference between a free woman and a maid servant. A servant does not have authority over her own self. So if you have a servant and you want to get a son from her, right? It's different now, because today you don't have to lie with her. You know, the surrogate mother. Yeah, I'm going to go there too, because that's a different concept, but I'm going to touch that too, silent intellect. Today you have what you call surrogate mothers, right? So you can pay a woman to say, okay, I'm going to give you 100,000 now, and when you bring forth the healthy baby, I'm going to give you another 100,000. So you make a covenant or a deal. But where science is today, you don't have to lie with that woman. They can, you know how they can take the seed and the egg and put it together, right? So it saves the wives a lot of pressure that, oh, my husband didn't lie with her. Surrogate mother, we call it, right? So with a maid back then, you could do the same thing. The only thing is that the man would lie with her because they were not taking seeds and eggs and put together. So she had no power over her own self. So this is why you see when it comes down to, if you back in slavery, you watch a lot of slavery movies, right? You notice how these men would fight for their wives even if the slave master grape them or take them to bed over and over, because it's not the same as a woman willfully committing adultery. Married is business nowadays. Yeah, that's a good point, Julie. That's also something to talk about as well. But Roman, I want to know if you get what I just explained about a slave woman.
Yes, 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 yes. I
So,
do.
right. So what this culture has done to our women, they turn all the free women into slaves. Because remember, somebody sent a request. Just a moment. Okay, it's Grace. Remember, when a woman is a slave, she does not have authority over her own self. When you look at the woman today, the free women are like concubines, are like maids, servants. They lie with anybody. They live as common women. But then women were honorable. Free women were honorable. You don't talk to them certain way. You don't address them certain way. But look at the free women today. They are like servants. Anybody can go and lie with them. That's base pleasure. That's not something for a woman, for a free woman. When you're a free woman, you are untouched, you are respectable, you are honorable. Even when you look at how they treated slaves, they will have certain special slaves for special occasions. They don't allow anybody to touch them. They maintain even their virginities because they serve a higher purpose. The women today, they're living as slaves and they don't know, because that's what this society did to them. It destroyed their perception. It destroyed their perception of themselves. This society reshaped their morality, their values. Julia, you wanna come up, Julie? Julie said married is business. Married is business. Sound like he outside. Why it keep kicking me out?
Well, in the Roman culture, it is.
Hold. Let me send you the invite and you see. No, silent intellect had mentioned about a man can have multiple wives. No, listen, this is another thing that corrupt a lot of people. Multiple wives is a man having wives, not wife and illicit affairs. Illicit affairs, one word for illicit affair is what? Concubine. So if you have one woman here and you're dealing with another woman that your wife does not know of, that's an illicit affair. That's concubine. So Abraham did not have multiple wives. He had one wife and a concubine. Hagar was not a wife. That's a difference. The next thing, Jacob never had 4 wives. Jacob had 2 wives and 2 concubines. Are you guys understanding the difference? Because a lot of men use these people to justify polygamy, polygyny in its polygyny, whoredom wrapped in the gift of polygyny. It keeps kicking her out. Roman, are you understanding what I'm saying?
Yes, yes, yes. The
So,
discussion will
so
definitely.
wives are equal. There's no such thing as a first wife and a second wife, meaning in terms of position. So when a person says she's the first wife, a lot of times she thinks that she's above the other wife. Wives are free women and they're equal. Your first wife has no authority over your second wife.
So why they always say that the consent have to basically comes from the first wife then?
Because this is what I'm saying. These are men who are not accustomed to power, men who are not accustomed to the principles of polygyny. And you cannot get into polygyny if you do not learn the principles. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself having random sex with random people and referring to them as wives. Are you okay? Let me show you.
So hold on. So you're saying that they don't have to no form of discussion.
You didn't see Solomon or David telling their wives they had power. Lol. Okay, that's a good point, silent intellect. Sorry, Roman, repeat what you just said again.
No, I was saying so any form of discussion don't basically have to take place for the whole concept of a man having more than one wife.
No, that's a covenant. Okay, that's a covenant you have to enter into with your wife. So, for example, like me, for example, I would never try to get with a woman that's monogamous. So if I'm talking to a woman, the first thing I'm gonna let her know that I'm into polygyny. If she says she's into monogamy, the conversation ends there. So men need to be intentional to say, okay, if you're not for polygyny, then we do not need to talk further. And that's what a lot of men do not do, right? So if you have a covenant with her to say, okay, I want 3 wives, and she agrees to that covenant, because covenant has to be 2 people in agreement. That's
Right.
covenant.
Yes.
So if your wife is not in that agreement, there's no way you can go and take another wife. You see what I'm saying? And there's no way you can go and do random sex, because you and her never had that covenant or that type of agreement. So a lot of men betrayed themselves and betrayed their woman in what? Pretense. Oh, she wants monogamous. You know you is not in you. You know that you don't have that ability to control your temperance yet. And you never told her, right? So what happened is now you find yourself in a position where you're wrestling here. And then you go and do whatever you do. How are you gonna come back to your wife now and explain what you did to her to outside there? You betray the covenant agreement because you signed up into a monogamous agreement that you were not ready for. You understand what I'm saying? So men need to be intentional. If you are polygyny, you need to be intentional about what you're into. Now I'm gonna show you the next thing. Remember with Jacob. Remember. Okay, let me go to the comments here. You didn't see Solomon or David telling their wives they had power, right? So when you are that leader of the household or whatever, you don't you give authority to your woman, but to a certain extent. There are certain things you do not leave in the hands of the woman, because women can be more envious. And when you're dealing with polygyny too, you have to be mindful of the wives, because if you have a wife that is up in her age, you cannot have a wife that is 50 and you want to take another wife that is 22. You're provoking envy in your relationship. You understand the wisdom? Because naturally, I'm not going to say all women, but naturally, more women who are more mature, they naturally get more insecure of their. And the next thing is naturally, what's it called? Fertility. Fertility is something to be envious of. Oh, Gary is here. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're gonna take a woman at 20 years, right? And she can have a lot of children, how do you think your wife at 50 years old is gonna feel? Is gonna feel about that?
Salt and 100%.
So mute. Yeah, thanks, Gary. So
Yeah,
we have
greetings, greetings.
huh? So we as men have to be considerate about our wives to navigate our decisions around wisdom and not around our desires. You see what I'm saying? If you okay, you're on mute. So it's a matter of wisdom that we make our decisions, and this is why I said principle is very. Do y'all practice polygyny with the wives living together? No, I don't believe in that. I think a lot of men. I heard a lot of men talking about that, but I do not believe in that principle. Having 2 wives under one roof. I don't believe
It's been
any
practiced
man
in
should
America though.
practice that either.
A whole lot of it, and it seems that there's not much conflict around it.
Around what?
Okay, based on the lifestyle of the polygamous relationship in America, that I am seeing that most men are not finding much issue with that.
No, I think polygyny in America. Huh?
Living together concept.
Yeah, I'm saying I think polygyny is in America is based on what Judith was saying earlier. It's about power and control and sometimes manipulation, because there's no way you should think about having 2 women under one roof knowing there's certain things involved. Let me tell you something. A woman is normally envious of what's the max wife? I'm gonna come to your question last year. A woman is normally envious of what? What's the reason why, if you're talking to a woman right now and you have a child before, why would she have an envy towards your son's mother? Naturally. Okay, before I go there, Romain, let me deal with this question. She says, what's the max number of wives? Now here is this covenant. I mentioned to you that it has to be a covenant based on principles. Now this is and this is why women need to have men in their lives when they're gonna go into relationships. This is the father of Jacob's wives. Listen to the agreement. I'm gonna start at Genesis 31 verse 49. Okay, 48. And Laban said, this heap is a witness between me and thee this day. Therefore was the name of it called Galeed and Mizpah. For he said, the Lord watch between me and thee when we are absent one from another. Meaning when we... Listen to this. It says, if thou shalt afflict my daughters, or if thou shalt take other wives beside my daughters, no man is with us. See, God is witness between me and thee. So when you're going into a polygynous relationship, part of your covenant is, okay, how many wives this man is going to want. So if you have a covenant that, okay, he can take one other wife, if that's the covenant, you cannot take 3 wives. People are not loyal to covenants, and this is the problem. If you had covenant with, okay, I'm going to need 4 wives, you cannot go 5 wives. So men need to be intentional about what they are doing. You see what I'm saying? So that last year, I hope that answers your question. So if the man can afford 6 wives, and when I say afford, I'm not talking just financially. I'm talking about pleasure. Because a lot of men claim they want such and such amount of wives and they cannot please a woman. Because if, for example, if your wife wants you 4 times, say 4 times, say she wants it like 4 times in 1 week. Just an example. What if your other wife wants it 3 times in another week, in the same week? That's 7 days already right there. So you don't want to leave your wife unattended in terms of pleasure.
Can't manage.
Right. So a lot of times you see the reason why you see relationships are dysfunctional is because men are doing it out of desire, and most of the times they're just creating whoredom, meaning that they lie with a woman tonight, but there's no desire to see him again because she's not satisfied. Hold on. She's not satisfied. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these men who are boasting about having a lot of women, trust and believe that is a lot of the women do not want to see them again. Most of the times it's just random women they're going with, but not the same woman, because they're not doing that. They're not pleasing the woman that way. So polygyny, you have to be providing for her sexually as well. It's not just to say, oh, I have 6 wives, 7 wives. No. So, and 2, concubine 2 is another thing, right? A lot of people do not understand that you do not have to lie with your concubine. You guys understand that? You do not have to lie with a concubine. You can adopt a woman as a daughter figure in your life. So if she's poor, this is the thing.
Definition of
Huh?
it then?
Huh?
So what would be the definition of concubine then?
No, this is what I'm telling you. Because you can, for example, you can take a maid servant, right? You can adopt her into your home because her family, she came from a poor background, right? So it's going to be to uplift. So you're going to treat her like your daughter. But if you have a son and you want to give her to your son, you can do that. But however, you can have a group of women that you take care of them financially. No sex involved, just financially. This is why people could understand when the Most High gave David Saul's concubines. It does not mean he gave him them to have with. It doesn't mean he gave him them to go to bed with. But because of our desires, we think that we have to lie with these women. No, you can take care of them. For example, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, he has money. Right now, he can house probably 20 women. Concubine, they're just living in an environment protected, secured, taken care of. You see what I'm saying? He doesn't have to lie with them. So if think about the rich men in Jamaica, you know how many women they could take under their covering to protect, to provide for, and they don't have to be out in the street creating whoredom? You know how many 18 years old, 17 years old are leaving school now only to go on the street to get used up, go in the corporate world to get used up? So what if a rich man, an honorable man, has some money and say, okay, I'm gonna provide covering for 2 women. If every rich man should do that each year, you know how many of our daughters would be protected, provided for, cared for? Let me see the comments here. She said it's based off traditions of men that says the first wife had power. Yes, that's a custom. And like I said, everything in the black community is based on power. Nothing is about principles. Nothing is about standard or anything of that sort. What's the max number of wives? We already answered that. My man said that if men who can have 2 wives choose to only have one, that's a sign he should have one. Why silent intellect? Why silent intellect? Why he says that? Tell him to give reasons for his for that statement. He said he can't imagine dealing with 2 women. Oh, so he's speaking from his personal experience. I understand now. I thought he was being general. Mental health too. Yes, that's another thing that we have to deal with in our community, because we're gonna have people with different problems, and this is where you create relationships out of grace. Know that, okay, this woman is going through certain things or has been through certain things before, but I'm gonna love her with grace. You see, because what a lot of people don't understand, that you will take up a certain woman or take up a certain man, but they don't understand what's happening to them. They feel the best while they're in the relationship with you, then they end up disrespecting you. So what happened now? They're gonna spend the rest of their lives searching for the version of themselves that they became when you were loving them out of grace. That version of themselves do not exist. It's the grace that you were showing them that made them feel so empowered and so much like wholeness and complete. So every other man they talk to, or every other woman they talk to, they're looking for the version of themselves in them, and they will never find it. They'll never find the emotional depth. They'll never find the connection. Nothing. Because they did not understand. And this is why it's very hard asking for a husband or a wife when you are not equipped to deal with the husband that will love you out of grace, to deal with the wife that will love you out of grace, to love you with all your shortcomings, to love you despite your failures. We don't understand when we find that grace in a relationship, you cherish that with everything you have. She says money, pleasure, and mental health. Okay. Lashia says, what do you if first wife don't want polygyny? Okay, that's a very important question, Lashia. Lashia says, what do you do if first wife don't want polygyny? Divorce? Okay. Here's the question. Here's the thing. Did they have a polygynous covenant at the beginning? That's the question, Lashia. Answer that question and then we can go into, because you just asked a very good question. Silent Intellect says, remember the Boaz story? He took her to care for her, not to really go to bed with her. Right, I think she's referring to what I talked about with taking care of. Yeah, he said he can't deal with the annoyance, okay, of 2 women at once. Yeah, because, we have to really prepare ourselves and be equipped to deal with certain things. And a lot of people don't understand that dealing with the mental state of our people right now, that in itself is a day's work. To deal with a man's mental problem or a woman's mental, that's a day's work in itself. Plus, you're gonna have to be focused on whatever you're focusing on out there. Plus, probably you might have a job differently. That's a lot of burden. We can't be trying to escape our reality through pleasure and things of that nature. Bible and marriage doesn't work. Queen, why do you say that Bible and marriage doesn't work? Why do you say that, Queen Erzuli? Masha, why you doing this? So why you not come up, Virgin? There are laws that were given with men with 2 wives, etc. in the scriptures. Yes, exactly, Masha. Okay, yeah. And the kids, don't forget the kids that you have to look after. Now, I think Lashley has gone because she had asked a very good question. No, kids too is a very important part when you're moving into a relationship, because Let me tell you something. From a personal experience, dating a woman that does not have a good relationship with her children, because a lot of mothers, there is so much resentment between them and the children. That tension right there, it makes it hard to create a relationship. And that's something I've personally experienced. And for me personally, if ever I decide to move into another relationship, whenever I decide to move into another relationship, I would never be with a woman that does not have a good relationship with her children. Me, in terms of children who have influence on their mothers, because there's a lot of that going on today. A lot of relationships do not work because of the relationship between mother children. I don't know if it's the same for father and children. Probably women would have to speak on that behalf. I don't know. But for me personally, I've had that experience. And that's something that I would never do again. Once you don't have a good relationship with your children and they are in your life and they have influence in your life. So when you're dealing with, what do you call them, grown children, what do you call them, not children, grown adults, sons that are adults and daughters that are adults, moving into relationship with these people, because you're going to create a family dynamic at the end of the day. So you have to make sure that this woman has a good relationship with her children, or maybe it's the same for the, on the other side, make sure the father has good relationship with his children, his sons and daughters. But from my personal experience, never again. Maybe Lashia is gone. I wanted her to expound on her question. But Masha, what's going on?
Yeah, give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how far you reach, but I just catch catch where you're speaking about when it comes on to polygamy, and my vibration on polygamy is a good thing, because it's all about building a nation and having righteous children. I yield.
Definitely. That's what it should be about. And this is the thing why we talk about not having the illicit affairs with the lots of concubines, because concubines, the modern term now is side piece or side chick. That's the same concept. The woman out there. What people don't understand is you're procreating a lot of ungodly children, because most of the times when you're in a relationship with a woman and you go out there and have another child, you don't understand that most of the times a lot of these men, because of fear for, probably they are already even married, Roman way, so they have too much to lose over here, so they have to abandon those child. And let me tell you something about rejection. Even the child in the womb, rejection starts there. By you rejecting that pregnant woman, trust me, all the energies that the rejection is vibrating through her is going to transfer to that child. So rejection can start at a very early age. Now imagine you have a daughter out there. You cannot tell your wife, so you're dealing with it secretly. Or probably you just cut off that woman because you don't know how to deal with the situation. Now what's going to happen? Most of the women who got molested or violated, abused in that way, most of them, they were no fathers. So even the men who have sons and are not in the son's life, most likely the sons are going to do the same thing that the father did. He's going to go out there having a lot of children with random people. I'm not saying all, but most of them is that same thing. So this is why I keep telling people, avoid casual sex. Men love casual sex, women love it, but women normally suffer. Because pregnancy is a solution to a lot of these unruly women's problem. They can talk about I'm there, I'm messing with my neighbor's husband and this and that. This man has to go back home to his wife. But what happens when you get pregnant? You see, people talk a lot about single parent homes, but they don't talk about the casual sex that led to the creation of the single parent's home. They don't talk. Yeah, go ahead, Masha.
Yeah. Okay, what happened is I heard again, I don't know how deep you went with the word concubine, yeah. Considering it being used traditionally or scripturally from our forefathers or foremothers point of view, yeah. The meaning of a concubine to me is women who are from other nations, and majority of the time, our forefathers, yeah, we don't. It's a tender subject, but anyway, majority of the time, our forefathers, we don't take women who are being defiled. So, let's say, for instance, in the case of war, we would take the women who are virgins, and then we would turn them into wives. But they would have the title concubine because they come from other nations. That's my intake on concubine. I yield.
Yeah, that's a good point too, because that what you just mentioned, a lot of people, you know what they call communal narcissists, people like use religious things, so a lot of men, you'll hear them say, oh, men who used to go to war and they'll take wives of other nations to justify interracial marriage, where the Most High has always warned us not to deal with the nations round about us. So men used to go to war and conquer women and take the virgins. The question is, are we going to war today? So for the men who are using these scriptures to justify their foreign wives, that's the dumbest concept they can ever come with. I'm not going against what you said. I was just putting a concept, something out there. You cannot use that chapter where men go to war because you are not going to war right now. So you cannot take a foreign woman and say, oh, no, you cannot go into interracial marriage. You have no reasons because you did not go to war to conquer her. But yes, of course. But the thing about that now, people don't understand that things carry, what do you call it, ramification or whatever the word is, or consequence or whatever. Listen, when you go to war and you conquer a family and you take the daughter, that daughter is going to remember what you did to her family, so she's going to be forced to be submissive to you. But when she gets a son, trust and believe she's going to educate that son, and she's going to be very submissive to you, because don't mess with the intuition of a woman. That's the only weapon a woman has. We conquer the world through swords, shield, weapon. A woman has this. So she is going to teach her son everything that you did. And this is how a lot of these households fell. A lot of houses fell because of the same thing, because you're sleeping with your enemy. You don't do certain things. We should not do certain things. So just because, if you want to conquer a woman and just keep her as slave, but to be getting yourself emotionally involved and all of these things, sometimes these things can come back into revenge. And that's not the wisest thing for a man to do. So having a woman as a slave, yes, you can have a foreign woman as a slave, but we have to use wisdom in everything, Like the scripture says, all things are lawful, but not all things are expedient. So just because it's lawful to do that, it doesn't mean that, it's lawful to have 2 wives, 3 wives, 4 wives, but it doesn't mean that it's expedient for you to have that amount. Because if you cannot sexually satisfy 4 women, what's the whole point of doing it? Just because it's in the law? No. If you can only please 1 woman, you do it. If you are not at the stage where you can control your temperance, you take some time and try to go into, try to balance yourself, try to go through the battle with your lust and your desires to master yourself. So if you're going to offer monogamous relationship to a woman, you know that you have enough experience and control over yourself, that you can say, okay, I've been doing this, I see where I'm able to do it, so let's try. But don't promise women these things that you know that you are not ready to do. This is why there's so much betrayals out there in relationships, because women are monogamous by nature, men are not. So when this modern society come and push this ideology of monogamous relationship, that is not realistic. If a man is willing to make that sacrifice for you, consider that a lot. Like the woman that was giving the offering, she had the 10 farthing and she gave the little from what she had. She was giving a lot. So if a man wants to do that, create a monogamous relationship with you women, that's something for you to honor and reverence. The man is going against his own nature. We have to know that one.
Yeah, I'd like to say.
Nature or government?
Economics. One moment.
Yeah,
Truth.
I'd like
Truth, it's you again. Go ahead, Masha. Sorry about that.
Yeah, what happened is that I don't like talking about it because if we speak the facts on the matter, or even you're talking about sex and satisfaction. It okay.
But just keep the words
When we think
careful
about
that TikTok don't get rid of me. That's all.
yeah. No problem, no problem. I'm trying to choose my words too because I don't want to offend the women. Yeah, so I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure it out. But sometimes you have to go straight to the
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. What happened is that in our forefathers' days, for us to have a polygamous relationship, one has to have what you call collaterals. One has to have farm animals, all of these things, right? So
Right,
what
right.
we'd call those in this time is asset. So let's say that a man who has, let's say, we're just gonna use, let's say, $2 million, right? And he can take and he has a good investment, yeah, and he has $2 million. We're just using that, right? And he can take care of 10 women, yeah. In our forefathers' days, that was easy. The reason why that was easy is because the women that he's getting are virgins. And it doesn't take much to satisfy a virgin. But I'm going to cut straight to the point, yeah? So,
Yeah.
what happened in our days now, because of these, oh boy, because these women, yeah, because these women have been around the block. I'm trying to use proper words.
I
Because these
understand.
women are been around the block, it is hard when it comes down to sexual satisfaction in our time today. And I hear what you said about when a man chooses to be with you as a woman who has been around the block. Yo, that's a lot of grace. That's a lot of
Exactly.
acceptance right there, and they should, yes, definitely accept the man. But again, being around the block mean you have more experiences than anything else, and that cause a lot of problems within a relationship. I
That's a very, very good point because this is something I talked about the other day where when they infiltrated the minds of women to make them think that you can do the same thing that men do. What they don't understand, and this is another thing that for me personally, you know how Mary Magdalene, how Yahweh cast out 7 demons out of her or something of that sort. Listen, you see the life that a woman lived between 20 to 29. Okay, college. From college to 29, because most people they go to college at 18. From 18 years old to 29 years old, the life that a woman lives, that life stains her memory forever and ever. Amen. It doesn't matter how much she's changed, and this is why she doesn't understand from the standpoint of the man what she looks like. It doesn't matter if she's changed, she's repented, she's Yahweh Shai cast out 7 demons. For us as men, listen, the most valuable thing a woman can give to a man is her soul. So it goes back to what you just mentioned, because what feminism, our modern world doing, our psychologists are not teaching these women is that what oxytocin does to you is not what it does to the man. So once you start to go with different partner, you are becoming more numb to yourself. So this is why connection means nothing to these people, and it's easy for them to get connected to current sites, because current sites strengthens that bond. You see what I'm saying? Make you don't want connection. So this is why now a woman can just go out there and do a one night stand, and she feels nothing. She doesn't feel anyway, and she doesn't have a conscience to feel guilt. You understand what I'm saying? Men, on the other hand, we are not wired that way. So if we go with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women, guess what? Oxytocin does not impact us psychologically. So if a lot of these women should talk to their psychologist or their feminist group leader or whatever, they will tell because this is biology. I'm not talking anything strange. They all understand it. Oxytocin doesn't work the same way in women, and when they understand this, they will see how much that the things that they're doing now is just something that is done to them biologically. Their biological structure has been altered. This is why they keep doing the same thing. So even if they find a good man, the memory that lingers here is still gonna come to surface at some point. So this is why it's very hard for a man who is at a certain state of awareness to go and lie with a woman who has been through that type of thing. And even when you get into this, the laws like priests, you notice the priests, they should only if they're gonna be with a widow, is she had to be with a priest before. Otherwise, it has to be a virgin, because that's a form of it's kind of desecrating. Somebody said
Hold
something.
on. Recap that. If you been with a widow, that
No,
widow
a
have to be with
priest.
the priest?
A priest. If a woman was with a priest and that
Oh.
priest passes away, another priest can go and be with that widow.
Oh yeah,
But
yes. Understandable.
yes, apart from that, he has to marry a virgin. You see what I'm saying? So even in the laws, there's spirituality and consciousness within the law that tells you or gives you a hint about the biological structure of men and women. So this is why I said when a man finds a woman that has been defiled in her 20 to 29 years, that's a relationship that has to be built on grace. Because now the man has to blot out everything that you did within those, say, 10 years. That's not easy. This is why sometimes you have to change even your neighborhood. You have to move from point A to point B to start a new life, because once the woman is still living there, you don't... Listen, I'm telling you about people who I'm seeing, you know. This woman was so wild, and now she's married, and the man is living in the village with him, with her. You know how the other man sees that man? So now that he knows the history of her, what do you think happens? No, he has to prove like that, oh, I'm a dad's. So now he has to go and start doing his own thing to kind of get back a balance. It's not easy to balance the mental state when you find out how defiled that woman was. And this is the thing, a lot of women are not honest enough to tell you. This is why I believe in unmasking at the dating table. If I'm going to talk to a person, I need everything to be stripped at the dating table. I want to see your shame on the table. I'll put mine on the table and let you know I've been through shit. I'm not afraid to talk about it. But once that shame is there and she's hiding something, I'm telling you that shame will end up on manipulating her ego. And this is why most times when you start to treat them with love, and a love that's beyond their capacity to receive, it becomes destructive. A lot of these people out there are buried in shame, guilt, and fear that they have to force things out of awareness. I've seen women posting on TikTok saying, I wish I could delete some things that she did in the past. Because when that memory comes and haunts you, it's not easy to deal with. And you know that this man is so loving and so caring and kind and everything you want. You know that this man doesn't deserve this. That's not an easy thing to deal with as a man. So this is why I don't believe in the stories at the dating table. We're going to get to the point. What was your life like between 20 and 29? What was your life like in college? Okay, now that I know that, it gives me a sense of peace. So now I can extend my 100% grace to know that, okay, you were filthy, but I'm going to love you with grace. So I'm going to blot out everything that I know you did between 20 to 29. I'm going to blot out everything that you did in college. So no longer I see the filth in you, but I love you in the purest form. Women don't understand that. Yeah, Masha.
Boy, my brother, me not tell no lie, you know. It hard, you know. And when we say it hard, yeah, when we say it hard, yeah. Ah, boy, okay. Yeah, I have to repent. I repented, yeah. No, man, for real. I had to repent too, because that's why I am where I am today in terms of knowledge and in a standing is because of the word, and I had to accept the word. I had to repent of my actions, yeah, because I was one of those guys. I was one of those men who because of my character and my personality could get any woman I want. You know what I'm saying? So what happened is I had to repent so that no, I'm trying to live that righteous life, yeah. And that's why when it comes down to woman, it's a little harder, because you have said it previously about the memories and the thoughts that they have. It doesn't just go away like that, yeah. When men are I call it, we use the word vetted. When men are vetting women, we should not, as righteous men, are becoming righteous, whatever terminology you want to use, because all of us are work in progress. So what happened is we definitely can't jump into a relationship, my brother. The reason why, as you said, is with the woman and the memories and even the DNA. Boy, I may tell you deep. No, I know it's deep. And the DNA that resides in them for years. Yeah, let's get technical. What happened is that sometimes it will kick in. If the only way, yes, we can forgive them and no problem, and extend grace, no problem. But if they are not governed by the spirit of Yahuwah, we're in trouble, brethren. May I tell you that straight. We're in trouble. These women have to be, yes, these women have to be covered, taken over, and governed by the Ruach HaKodesh, or we're in trouble. Because this goes skin deep, my brother. So yeah, I mean, you're talking on the men forgiving. That's one, but whoa, what about the women? It's deep, my brother. I yield.
Yeah, it's just it's so much when you look into it, and this is why I said because there's it's really a spirit, the thing that they call shame. Shame is really a spirit, and if the person, man or woman, does not conquer that shame, meaning the shame has no more authority over you. That's when. How do you know when the spirit of shame does not have authority over you? No, you can go and speak about that deed openly, and it doesn't matter if you're being judged or not, because you have forgiven the experience, or you have forgiven yourself in that equation. So shame does not have any authority over you. When a person did something that they regret, and the shame lingers, this is why people hide their past. That lets you know that there's a hidden shame, and the more it lurks in the dark, is the stronger it becomes. It becomes stronger the more and more it's hidden. But once you open it and bring it to light, for example, a lot of people do not know you can be in a relationship and you find yourself liking somebody else. A lot of people do not know that. Listen, the first thing you do if you're in a relationship and you find that, oh, I like this man, I like this woman, the first thing you do is you tell it to your partner, because once you shine that light of awareness and the fact that you like a person, it dies. But the fact that you hide it from your partner, trust and believe, you're going to start operating different. You understand? It's all psychological. You're going to operate different. And this is why you see women who commit adultery, a lot of them are not even aware of the changes in their behaviors. I'm going to give you an experience. There was this woman that committed adultery on me, right? So she has a way of committing. I observe patterns. Trust and believe that if you change one thing, I'm going to know. I'm not always going to verbalize it, but I'm going to know. Now, she changed her pattern. She said to me she's working on herself. So she was being away for 3 months. Fine. You're working on yourself. Who am I to go between you and your God, right? So anyways, her pattern was changing. She did not realize that it's because she's getting attracted to somebody. She's naturally pulling away from me, right? I knew that. She did not know. I allowed her. I didn't stop anything. Because guess what? If I had gone to her and tell her that, hey, I noticed these change in your patterns, you are communicating with somebody on a deeper level, she would have denied it. But I didn't say anything. So what do you think happened? After a few months, she went out, committed adultery, got pregnant by adultery, giving me the baby, all of that, right? It was just about a year ago. Somebody, a mutual friend, told her that the moment you started talking to that guy, Andrew knew, but he left you to make your choice. So what happened is when they commit the adultery, they try to justify it with their stories to feel empowered. Like, sometimes they'll say, oh, you deserve it, or whatever the case may be, something to make them feel less guilty. So when a mutual friend told her recently that I knew everything from the beginning before she lied with the man, from everything, you know what that did to her conscience? To know that all the myths, all the stories she created was false. No, she cannot justify it with anything. Because when she thought I did not know, I knew it all along. She just didn't know that I know. The next thing, a lot of women do not know about their body structure. Let me tell you something. When I'm talking to a woman, the first thing I want to know is her menstrual cycle. The first thing I want to know about a woman is her menstrual cycle. Now, this woman I'm telling you about, she had an irregular cycle. That means it does not come every say 28 or 21 days. It was not fixed. And as irregular as her cycle was, I studied it. So after she went out and did what she did, and she came back around me, I said to her, I noticed you haven't said anything about your cycle. She looked at me like this, but she didn't understand what I was saying. So it was after the pregnancy and everything came out, I told her that when I said to you, you did not say anything about your cycle, I'm telling you that once you go with a man unprotected, it's going to alter your cycle. You are not at the state, like a 304. You know what I mean, 304. 304s who are accustomed to that, they do not get stressed from going unprotected with another man. So it does not alter them the way a normal woman is going to be altered. So yes, unprotected sex with another partner is going to alter a woman's cycle. A lot of them do not know. Because she's not on pills, she's not on injections and those things too, So the stress from the adultery is going to alter her cycle. She had no clue. And I sat there and watched everything. I never said, somebody's requesting, hold on. Shalom, Julie. Oh, she's not here as it. But Masha, you understand what I was saying about the biological makeup of women? A lot of them do not.
No, I agree. Hold on. Mute Julie.
Yeah. Go ahead, Masha.
My brother, the spirit of the Most High in you for you to be coming up front on this live to even give your testimony or your experience, because what happened is that it builds us also who are listening as brothers and sisters. Yeah. I don't know how many sisters are on the line, but I'm talking in general. Yeah. I'm again, as I said, I repented. And the reason why I have to say that is because I was on the side most of the time. You know what I'm saying?
Most men with commitment phobia, most men with fear of intimacy, they're always on the side because it's too traumatic. But yeah, go ahead. I'm not saying that's your case, but most of the time, commitment.
Yeah. I'm always on the side, and the reason why I'm expressing this is because we can learn from others' experience. Yeah. And remember, I am in a different lifestyle, a different way of life, a different vibration right now. Yeah.
Right.
So, I was on the side. So, all these men, I hear men, oh, my woman wouldn't do this. You're kidding yourself, okay? And what happened is that because most men figure that giving women money or providing for them, even if they're husband, that they have control over the woman, they don't. Yeah. And the reason why, and now I know more or less because of the scriptures why, is because these women are not oh God, it's a very ticklish, but these women who these men or brothers get in union with are not virgins. And the reason why I can say that is because I've been with some. So I know once you take their, I would say, soul or their vibration, they stick with you. You can do them anything and they will never leave you. I'm talking from experience. Yeah. With these other women, they're always looking for, and that's where the problem lies, my brother. Yeah. So no matter how a man say, oh, me pay all the bills, me do that's a joke. Because if this woman, again, and I'm going to touch on it because I always like to repeat myself, if this woman is not governed by the Spirit, you're in trouble because of their mentality. And I'm saying that from being on the side for, and most of my relationship, the women are always married. You know what I'm saying? And they take care of me in those days. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm saying this for the brothers to understand, that if you're in a relationship now with a woman, it's best that you can sit her down, even if the relationship 1 year, 2 years, whatever, and says, what can we do to improve the relationship? Where am I lacking in the relationship? Because you're dealing with women who have been around the block. I yield. I could go deep, but I prefer to stop there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with what you say, especially this open discussion where, because a lot of people, they are not comfortable to talk about certain experiences. And like I said, yes, some things are gonna be kept private, and but some things you can speak because you yourself have overcome that past it, and their experience will help shape another person's perception of how to deal with certain situation. Like the next thing I want to touch on is men do not know how to take revenge when it comes on to adultery. I've seen a lot of men, and I'm surprised to see. I saw some white dude mention that they did it. I know a lot of men here do it, but I was surprised to know that these white guys, they did it too. Like after they found out the woman committed adultery, what do you think they do? They drive with the woman to a lonely place. I know a lot of men here do it. I said I was surprised to know that these you Caucasians do it too. You can't listen. You see, when a woman comes to you, not just a woman, even if a friend comes by you, your main job is to protect that person. If I come visit you in your neighborhood, your job is to protect me. If you come to visit me, I have to protect you with everything I have because you are my responsibility. We have to think like kings, not mere men. You cannot take a woman at the middle of the night, drive her to a lonely cane field, darkness, no street light, and leave her out there. Because you know what the news is gonna say? She was last seen in that car that belongs to Masha. She was last seen in that car that belongs to Romaine. She was last. You see what I'm saying? Don't let your impulses, your anger, your lack of self-control, don't let that. No, don't do that. If she betrays you, you show her the biggest revenge, which is grace. What is going on here, Charles? Revenge, yeah. Grace is the revenge that you show a person because trust and believe that their guilt is gonna creep upon them and it's gonna be a weapon formed against them. You only give them withdrawal, never give them closure, and that was the same thing I just explained to you about that woman. You don't give these people, you don't give people closure. You just don't fit their narratives because they're gonna try to justify it. Don't give them closure. That's the yeah. Go ahead, Masha.
Boy, I don't know about the grace thing again. Listen,
You have to go to
well,
Eva and Maggie. No grace.
yeah,
Yeah, go
no, me
on.
no in them thing. Listen, me no in them thing. The virgin. I'm gonna tell you why me no in them thing. That I'm a talk of experience. Yeah, you see, when and again, as I said, I'm coming from the side man point of view, and I'm going into the main man point of view. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened is that whenever you have a woman, a wife, yeah, and she's caught in adultery, yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's best you move on. Me tell you, brother, it don't make sense, brother. Because
No.
what happened is that, yeah, what happened is that that grace and them thing that no, I better me left the house and go find somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Or you leave and go find someone. But if you're staying with her, yeah, and you express that you know that she's whatever, you know what that makes her? More wiser in doing what she has to do, brethren. If
Oh, I
she's not
don't.
governed by this,
Oh, sorry about that, Masha. I don't know if you got that from what I said because when I said grace, I didn't mean that you reconcile the relationship. This is why I said you don't give her closure. So I don't know if what you're saying is you got from what I'm saying that I went back into the relationship. That's not where you're coming from,
okay.
right?
Yeah. Because I was saying, listen,
No,
you
no,
see,
no, no.
love, yeah, you see, love is a principle. It's an application. That's where I am today. Yeah. Previously I used to use emotion to govern love. Now I use principle, different tradition. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's where I was coming from thinking because true people use grace as forgiveness
No,
and
no. That's why I said you
no.
don't give them closure because I mean you don't even give them closure. You don't try to fit any stories or create give them any clarity or anything. Just let them create their own myths. So when I said grace, I just mean that you just withdraw. No explanation, no closure, no nothing. Do not fit any narratives that they create. You understand? You do not, yeah, you just live in contradiction to their narratives. That's what I mean. You don't reconcile relationship. Even the biological laws tells you not to go back to. It's easier for a woman to forgive a man for infidelity A man does not forgive a woman. I mean, you can forgive, but you don't reconcile a relationship. So no, I was never putting that concept out there. Sorry if I wasn't clear, but go ahead. Finish expounding on your point.
Yeah. No, man. No, I understand you. I was just coming from probably another aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
you
yeah.
can't. Yes. Yeah. She is
No,
gonna be wise, and I'm talking of experience. She's gonna be wiser. You know what I say, and still do her dirt because she's not governed by the ruach. You know what I say. So as righteous men here and righteous women, we need to understand the laws and practice it daily. But for me, if I would now in search for another wife. That's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Because trust me, it's not gonna cut it, brethren. I've been there, done that. I've been on the side. I can talk about certain
no, you
things, and
don't.
it will
Yeah,
blow
yeah.
you away. Yeah.
You don't reconcile. You don't reconcile those type of relationships. Let me tell you something. When a woman commits adultery with a man, that's the furthest she can go to tell you non-verbally that I don't respect you. That's all she's saying. You see what I'm saying? So you mentioned earlier about a man who's providing, a man who is doing everything for a woman, not realizing that his generosity is only being exploited. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you provide for a woman if you are not emotionally there for that woman, right? You are already setting yourself up to be cheated on. You see what I'm saying? So it takes more than that because you cannot be having your wife, but then you are open to every other woman out there. That's not how you create a polarized relationship. She's not gonna feel emotionally protected. And this is why you see a lot of men who can be so kind or whatever it is, they get cheated on. And this is why too you see a lot of women can remain more faithful to married men. Let me say that again. A lot of women will remain more faithful to married men because when a man has a wife, the way he treats his wife, he's going to treat this woman out there the same way. He's going to be there. He's going to create emotional depth or emotional connection with that woman. So it's easier for that woman out there to remain loyal to a married man than to remain loyal to a man that is single and running wild in the street. It's polarity. You see what I'm saying? So the way the married man makes love to her and so forth, the way he gives her and does things is gonna be so captivating here that even if she wanted to cheat or if she used to cheat, it can alter her mind. And this is why sometimes you see these women are so hard to get out of relationships with married men. But with a normal man, she can just walk away because there's no emotional depth. Relationship is about polarity. You can be a provider. You can be Bill Gates rich. It doesn't stop you from being stop a woman from committing adultery. It's about the connections you create, and this is why I said when you create that emotional depth with a woman, she will go out there to search for you in every other man, because you resurrect a version of her that no longer exists. It only exists with the grace that you showed her, not with the love itself, but the grace that came with the love. And vice versa is the same with a man. This is why a man can betray a woman and then he spent 5 years still trying to get back with that same woman because he's realizing now that the version of him that was with that woman, he cannot find that version of himself with another woman. So he's gonna go out there destroying a lot of hearts, destroying even himself in the process. Somebody's accepting. Oh, Grace keeps getting kicked out. You see what I'm saying, Masha? So with the cosmic laws, no, you don't reconcile a relationship with a woman after that infidelity. It's that's not something you should do. The heavens already declared that, and this is why I said a woman can be more lenient with a man that does that, because it's not really in our nature. It's something that we have to practice. We have to try, because it's not in our nature to just create a monogamous environment. You know, you were talking about virgins earlier. The next thing that our women and men have not experienced is a natural habitat. You know, like how the scripture says in the beginning, he took the woman from her father's house and gave to the husband. The environment that she would have in the parents' house, that family dynamics, that family structure, we don't have that home, those type of structure in the homes today. So at the end of the day, it's gonna be very hard to create functional homes in with us today, with these women and with these men. It's gonna be difficult. We have to create the environments, the habitat for the women to have that mind state where they feel relaxed, cared for, protected. But No, you can't be accessible to every woman and expect to have emotional depth. Part of your masculinity is your withdrawal from everything out there. And yes, there are going to be struggles because there are a lot of women who come with a whole different dimension of insecurities. And trust me, to be with a woman that's insecure based on her level of insecurity, it's not good to continue that relationship, because after, even if you help her to heal the insecurity, after all the judgments she's already formed about you, trust and believe that they will become a weapon against you, because it's going to be hard for her to remove the judgments. You see what I'm saying? So helping her heal insecurity is one thing, but it's not always going to be the best thing to continue the relationship, even if she's healed. It carries some residues up there that is going to be hard for you to alter that. You're just going to have to say you're preparing her for another man. You know, you're going to be what they call the Lucky Charms guy, you know, after he lies with a woman, she gets married, Prince Charm or something like that. You know that movie? Yeah. So some type of mental illness we have to be mindful of, and if you don't have the grace to deal with them, it doesn't make sense. And this is why it's important for people to be aware, to be honest upfront. And it's very hard. And it's good for people to be self-aware before getting into relationships too. Because it's not fair for a person that why is after we're in the relationship you're gonna have to need to know how insecure I am. Why after so much time in the relationship you're gonna have to know that I'm an abuser. Why after, you see what I'm saying? Why we couldn't just be upfront to say, okay, my last 3 relationships, this was the case, this was the case, this was the case. I was struggling with adultery, I was struggling with alcohol, I was struggling with gambling. Why can't people just and make life easier? So it takes a lot of grace and compassion and things of that nature to create fruitful, profitable relationships. But like I said, men, I always start with the men. Men need to start their withdrawal process. Withdrawal from dating sites, withdrawal from current sites, withdrawal from being accessible to every woman. Don't be engaging with all this type of whatever conversations, and you know it. When you get into a relationship, what do you think is going to happen? People already have this adulterous mindset, so they are naturally looking for somebody who they think would commit adultery on them, so they can justify the fact that they are already an adulterer. Oh, I'm talking to this new guy, but I know he's going to do this, so I'm talking to another guy as well. Like, dude, you are just an adulterous woman and you want to justify it. This is why these women, they get into relationships with low standard men. And as Grace mentioned earlier about the power, there's that desire for power that's there. So a lot of women, they'll complain, oh, this guy's just sitting on the couch all day watching TV or doing this or just sitting there and not doing anything. That gives them a form of power. Because as much as she's going to curse you to her friends, guess what? Later she's going to get wet for you. That does not make any sense. It's all for power. A lot of these women, if they meet a man with a certain standard, a certain quality, a certain character, they are going to reject that man because they know they are not equipped to be in relationship with that man. They want somebody who they already see that, oh, he's going to commit adultery, so it's going to justify the fact that I go out and do it. It's all psychological.
My brother, yeah, I mean, you're correct with everything that you said. I mean, I concur, yeah. And right now, the only way we can move forward is, and as you say, it's the men. We have to rise, yeah, to the level where we live the laws, and the laws take over our mind. And then we definitely have, because of the resources in terms of more, again, more women than men, yeah, we have also the resources where we can find women like as we snap our finger. But what type of woman must we look for is that we have to try to seek if we can find like a Proverbs 31 woman. You know what I'm saying? Again, at the ages, I don't know how the men ages here, but I'm up in age, yeah. To find a woman close to me in age, yeah, you have to make sure that she's governed by the Ruach. And I will always mention that. No, living the laws and moving forward, we men has to rise for the occasion, spiritually, mentally, and physically. We have to do our homework diligently, our vetting diligently, yeah, because most of the women here today, yeah, even although they call themselves Hebrew Israelite or whatever they want to call themselves, yeah, they're
Right.
still, yes, they're still looking for security. They're still looking, and they will keep looking. So definitely, we as sons of the Creator, we have to step up our morals and our vibration. I yield.
Yeah. The reason you mentioned about the Proverbs 31, for me though, let me just turn off the phone 1 second. Why it's hard for me to say look for Proverbs 31 woman is that we would all be looking for finished products, end products, you know, finished work, if that makes sense. So what about women who already make up their minds that they want to make that change, are in the process of make? Can we use grace to deal with them? Because it's just like if a woman wants a man that is a finished product, already healed himself and is completed the process, then how many are they going to be? How many men are going to be in that? Let me say Proverbs 31 then. How many men are going to fit that criterion? If women should seek for finished product, and if men should seek for women who are Proverbs 31, how many women are we going to find? What percentage? If you see what I'm saying? So this is where grace comes in and compassion. So you see, she's willing and ready. That's something that you can start. She's willing and ready. You withhold the sex first, but you go through the process, because what people don't understand is marriage come with components. Marriage is not just one thing. Marriage is a whole bunch of things put together. This is why I was talking about the responsibility aspect and the teaching aspect. This is why we say you marry within your culture, because it's going to be hard for you to teach somebody outside of your culture certain things. How are you going to get a certain person to not eat pork, shrimp, lobster, not to do certain... You see what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy to humble them, because they are not governed by the same spirituality as you are. So grace is why we don't wait on a Proverbs 31. And it's very difficult. I truly, and like for me, look at me, Rasta, beard up, and this is how I look. A women today, most women are covered with makeup. Now, I cannot get into anything with a woman that's all makeup and perm here or cream here, whatever you cannot walk beside me because you don't represent my image. So is she willing to sacrifice the makeup and all those stuff that she's because I cannot do it. You're not gonna see me out in the cities in jacket and tie. I don't care what the occasion is. I'm not gonna conform to anything like that. I'm not gonna conform to your makeup world. So from my standpoint personally, I can never be with one of those women. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, go ahead, Masha.
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. Before, no. Oh my gosh, I used to love that, my brother. You see it? Yeah, man. I used to love them thing, the man, the wig and the falls, this and falls that used to make me go, whoa. But you see, after knowing, yeah, the creators and the laws and trying to live it, your mindset changed, my brother. Yeah. So now you see the moment they would do them thing, them I can't me say them a witchcraft, them a perform virgin. No, no, you see me, no, you don't a witchcraft virgin. You see me? I say so. It's a different ball game. Now to continue what you're saying, when you said looking for a finished product, it is very hard to even find that too. Yeah, there has to be a compromise somewhere along the line. But when you exercise that form of realization, compromise, it should not affect the laws of the creator. You get what I say? So
Yeah.
if you find a woman who will say weak, yeah, but she's willing to serve the creator, she's willing to listen to you, yeah. And I don't like to use the word submit, yeah. because men use it all the
Please.
time already. But if she's willing to respect you, then as a spiritual man, as a righteous man, I would work with that individual. And you said it. Listen, you said the key word: stay away from sex. I love that because sex is marriage. Yeah. And once you have sex with her, no, your whole tradition, your whole everything I go haywire. Trust me, Virgin, it's deep, man. People take it like a joke thing. But when you have the creator in you, Virgin, it's easy for you to lose your way. Yes, easy if you ever go venture into that aspect of things. So I love what you say, Virgin. Yeah, man, keep that out of the picture and start deal with principle. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me go back to the law as I mentioned that you have two questions on the panel. One says, so does your Uber require you to have insurance to drive for them? I think she was referring to anyway. And another question is being with a concubine a sin, since so much of our leaders have them? Can you answer that question? The first one needs elaboration, so Grace would have to elaborate. Can you answer this question, Masha? Is being with a concubine a sin, since so much of our leaders have them? So I think he's going into tradition when he talks about leaders. But I'm gonna find. Okay, go ahead, Masha.
Yeah. I'm trying to look if he's coming from, because I like to break things. I'm trying to look which angle is he coming from with the word
He's on the panel.
concubine.
You can ask him. Remain unmute. Oh, he got kicked out. I don't know. He just got kicked off it. Okay,
Yeah.
Grace. Okay, for the next question, Grace, you wanna expound? I don't know
No, I can
what
answer the concubine one, but I was looking at the word,
the
the
guy
word.
came off. I
Yeah,
don't know
no
if he's
problem.
still
We'll
here.
still answer it. Yeah, we'll still
Okay,
answer
yeah,
it.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't
Yeah,
know
go
where
ahead.
he is, but we'll still answer it.
Yeah, go
What
ahead.
happened is, what happened is that the word concubine, doesn't mean what we think it means, when it comes down to the scriptures. But when you say a whore, I think I can say that, whore, it's a whole different
Use
ball game
304 for
because
that word.
it's,
Use
huh?
304. Use 304 for that word because I don't want it to kick me out.
No problem. Let me put a F1. Hold on, my brother. Okay, hold on. Can we do the thing straight? You know what I'm saying? Three
Remember,
or
somebody on
four.
chalk line with TikTok, you know.
Yeah, man. No problem. Put a F1. You can put a F1 for bucket. But three. When you're speaking of a 304, again, our whole mind or whole vibration is off. Like it's on the other side. If you're talking about left and right, she's on the left side. If she's a 304, yeah. Now, if and when I say 304, I'm not talking about one or two been around the block with one or two. I'm meaning extensive. Mean she has to have it. She has what you call a succubus spirit. I think I can use that. Yeah, a succubus spirit. That's dangerous, Virgin. Stay far from that. Yeah. But if you're speaking about a woman who makes mistakes, this is where the grace comes in, and she is willing to change through the spirit of the ruach. Yes, you can, because you yourself is not perfect and wasn't born perfect. So I put that in my thinking when I'm definitely around women, is I will forgive and forget if she's willing to repent and do what she has to do in terms of rebuilding her body structure, etc., etc. So that's my thought on that.
Okay, I think he got kicked out now. Coming to Grace. I don't know if you're still here. You said, so does Uber require you to have insurance to drive for them? I think that was another.
I was trying to text my mama, and it
What?
actually text on here. So I don't know how or why it did that, but yeah, that's what happened.
Okay. Yeah, so back to Masha, back to what we were talking about, the principles now, because you see, we do things backward. We meet the woman and then we first go to bed, and then we have to deal with the mental aspect that come with it, the mental baggage and everything. So I'm gonna go to the scripture here. I read it earlier, but I'm gonna read it again. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 28. If a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her and lie with her, and they be found, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife because he hath humbled her, he may not put her away all his days. So this goes back to what I'm saying. When you meet a woman and you guys, there's an attraction, and you guys jump into bed, you don't know what mental baggage this woman comes with. She does not know what you come with, because you didn't follow the principles of marriage to get to know the person. When you look at Jacob spent 7 years around the family. So he's knowing the woman by observation. That's the best way you can know a person. Not by talking, but by being around them, because when you're around a person physically, you know what happens? The ego collapses. You understand? If it's just a visiting relationship, you can pretend this way, and then when the person comes to visit you, you can be a whole different character. But if you're in the same environment, waking up together, going to bed together, and going through stressful moments, because that's the moment where you know a person. In times of stress or pressure, the ego unleashes. That's the time you know a person. So if you're not seeing that person outside of his character or outside of her character, you do not truly know the person. You have to see the person when he loses his job. You have to see the person when her mom is on her back. You have to see the person when her boss is on her to get reports done. And so you have to see the person under pressure. So it's important to know a person by observation, not just exchanging of words. You know, so that's a very important thing. So Jacob spent 7 years knowing the woman by observation and so forth, seeing her capabilities and everything. And then, of course, he is safe now to lie with that woman. So we, like I said, is backwards. We start first with the sex, and then we try to know the person afterwards. Oh, you did not tell me that you were married. Oh, you did not tell me that you are not here. You're just visiting. So I'm not gonna see you back for now. You should know these things before you lie with the person. So men have to have that level of control or something. So this is why we hold men first accountable. Because once you go out there and start to spit your lyrics, trust and believe that a woman will fall for it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I love to share my experiences too. You know what I say? Because that's the only way, definitely. You know what I'm saying? We can learn from each other and all of that stuff. I remember. Yeah. I was in a barber shop. Yeah, at the time, and this girl said, "Yo, I love your knowledge, and you know, 'cause we chant about the scriptures and all of that stuff." She said, "Yo, I love your knowledge and all of that stuff. I go to church and all of that stuff, and you know what I'm saying? A man like you will speak like that. Yo, me know say, you know what I'm saying? You were on the street and know her, you know." I say, yeah, it's all good, you know what I'm saying? And then she started express herself sexually, like, listen, for me, I would like a man who even talk like you and all of that stuff. But on the sexual level, I would like to have it like 4 times in a week. You see, when she said that, my brother, yo, in my mind, me already know, even although she said she go to church and all of that, she still have a different spirit within her. It's not about the creator. It's not about nothing else than, so that's why we have to be careful who we get involved with on an attachment level. I yield.
Yeah, Love Inspiration says many don't have enough self-control. It's a rare quality, right? And self-control is a spirit. The Bible calls it temperance. A lot of us do not have temperance, the ability to control our. And what you just said, let me tell you something, brother. In my experiences, because I was like Ishmael, I was a wild man. Let me tell you something. The most terrible creature I came across is the one that calls himself Christians or religious. I'm talking, it's like there's a dragon inside of them that is waiting to be unleashed. The women in the parties that you see going wild, they are not as dangerous as these women that you would say Christians. I'm talking about from my personal experiences. So, you see, with a good woman is a woman that loves to make love to the man that loves her. When she's wild with that one man, that's a woman. But when a woman is like that with every man, that's, you know. But yes, as you mentioned, they're gonna like the knowledge. So this is why men know, we who are in that position need to understand that just because she's coming on to, it goes back to what I said, don't make yourself too accessible or too available. Because how are you gonna protect your wife? If I'm here spitting knowledge, right? I'm married, and this woman is coming out because you can know the way they like your pictures, the way they like your videos, the way they comments. There are certain key things that you can identify that, you see what I'm saying? So because women are more subtle, you know, what they'll do is they'll drop this in front of you, pretend as if they don't know it's dropped, and then when you go and pick it up, that's where they break words. The conversation starts. You see what I'm saying? We call it they put themselves in positions for those things to happen. So she's not gonna come straight and tell you she likes you, but she's gonna do something to get your attention, and then you, by your nature, you're gonna continue to proceed with the conversation. So if you're not skilled enough to say, oh, you dropped your pin and you just give it to her and walk off without even waiting for her to say thanks, that's when you know that you're powerful. She has to do what? Rethink her game. You see what I'm saying? So you're not falling for what do you call it, breadcrumbs? You don't fall for these baits. You see, this game is just to master psychology. And once you master psychology, this is why she will want you more and more and more, because you're not giving into the baits that she's dropping. I was talking to this lady and she was telling me about somebody that wanted to hire her, but the man had an attraction for her, right? And he was trying to do things to get to her. Remember, this man is a businessman. This man probably have money and stuff like that, right? She had a stronger attraction to me. And when I told her, no, you already told me that you were talking to somebody. So, you know, when I told her that I would never put myself in that position, what do you think she said? She said, no, she wants me even more. Like, I'm telling you that I respect the fact that you have a relationship. This man who wants you, right? You are rejecting that man. But because I'm rejecting you, you now want me more. You see how the psychology works? So the more that a woman sees that she's seeing masculinity and the protector, the capability to protect, she's seeing that. Aye. Turned off, go off same time.
Give thanks. Yeah, listen, Grace, I don't know if the typing is correct, but Grace says from only 4 times a week, or because she said it. Okay, once a woman is like, okay, remember, I'm coming from.
Hold on. She's texting somebody too different. I don't know if this message is for us.
I am asking him. I was really asking him. Don't do me, because I only did that one time.
Okay, so go ahead, Grace. Since you have the mic, what do you want to know? Talk to me, and I'll answer you.
Well, see, I was asking because I was trying to understand why you formed the judgment. Was it because she actually asked you and you weren't really aware of who she was, or was it her actually saying she want to do something 4 times a week? Because I'm trying to understand here.
Okay, no problem. I went to the barber shop, and yes, I met her there, and we were all reasoning on the scripture. But because of my past experiences, I know once she comes out to say 4 times, that's for me, I am not in that anymore. Because what happened is that when I was on the side, a lot of the men started out that way, ended up not. It's like you tell a woman, all right, a woman has the notion that I'm just going to use this, yeah, I'm going to get it 4 times a week, yeah. And then no, the man starts out 4 times a week, and then what? Him drop to 3. And because I know all this, why I wouldn't even place myself there. And him drop to 3, then him drop to 2. She hardly I get 1 a week. Now what's gonna happen is that she's gonna look somebody to satisfy her. That's where I come in. Because now the gap, I'm gonna fill the gap. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking about past, not now, different vibration. I'm gonna fill the gap. So as soon as she says 4, sis, as soon as she said 4, I know definitely I can't go up to that either, because I am on a different frame of mind now. So I'm going to put myself into the other men position where I'm going to say, yeah, man, just because I want to know her on that level. But I know I couldn't keep up every week 4 times. No, that means you know what happened? You put self over even the word, even to move forward, even progression. And that's why a lot of relationship is broken, because of the need of a woman, the spirit that is within her, the experiences that she has experienced before she met you. Yeah. So that is why, sis. You know what I'm saying? So if a man can do that, I have no problem. I wouldn't even go there because I know definitely I'm not that type of guy. You know what I'm saying? I yield.
Yeah, I'm gonna quote a precept, even though it's not is in a different context. The principle can be applied to what you just explained. This is talking about Exodus. This is Exodus 21 verse 10. Inspiration zone. Would you like to come up? It says, if he take him another wife, her food, meaning the previous wife, the wife that's currently there already, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So it goes back to the same thing. If you have one wife and you're giving her service 4 times a week, you see what I'm saying? If you take another wife, you cannot diminish the 4 times a week duty. You see what I'm saying? So this is what a lot of men do not understand, and this is why they confuse one wife with multiple sex partners with multiple wives. So it's just their polygamous nature wrapped in gift packages of polygyny. It's just the same thing. Okay, no problem. Inspiration zone. You see what I'm saying? So people don't understand the duties of marriage. This is why I said marriage carry different components. You cannot just be a financial provider and you expect that's gonna be a functional marriage. You don't think rich men get their women commit adultery on them too? They don't lack anything. They can take trips. They can have luxury apartments. They have all the businesses. They travel whenever they want. Why do they commit adultery? It's not because of lack of financial provision. There are other things. So we have to get into the biblical aspect of marriage, because part of it too is to feed the spirituality. And this is why you want to be with somebody where there's a form of alignment. You see what I'm saying? Like she has some form of spirituality or he has some form of spirituality. You see that, okay, there's room for evolution. There's room for to evolve. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be easy because you're going together, even if one is ahead of the other. If the wife is ahead of the husband spiritually or vice versa, at the end of the day, there's still room because it's going to give you more reasons to talk about spirituality. You can bond with that. But when you have a person that you are spiritual and the person is a zombie, what type of conversations you're going to have? You can't talk about anything conscious. So it's going to cause the kind of, outgrowing the person or something of that sort. So it's good to how the Most High did with Adam. He made Adam aware of himself and everything, and then now he can go and create a woman in that same image to mirror his reflection. So this is what I was saying earlier, that if a woman is all fake here, especially the thing that they paste on their foreheads here, that's the most disgusting thing women can ever do. Paste, the thing that they paste up here, the fake baby here. Where did they get that concept from? So this is what I'm saying. I could never get into it with one of these women. Like I said earlier, like the woman will cuss about the man just lying on the couch and watching TV and eating chips and whatever, and then she gets wet for him. I cannot be with a woman that's with this fake hair and all of these things. You mentioned earlier that back in your adulterous time, edges. That's what they call edges. Yeah, the fake baby here is called edges. You mentioned like back in your adulterous time, Masha, that you like to see these women, right, with the fake hair and the wigs and so forth. In my time, for me, I was very meticulous with details. The reason I didn't like women with false hair is because it leaves too much evidence. If it's even one strand of the false hair, this is why when they leave, we have to do a spring clean, because we don't want any evidence, pieces of evidence to leave behind. So we were very careful back in our time, and it wasn't about spirituality or anything. It's just the natural common sense. Then we didn't want to leave evidence. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes it's good for a woman to know her man's sexual cycle. That's something important for women to know their sex cycle. And let me tell you something about me. One time, my woman at the time, she came to the house and she saw a pack of Rough Rider. It was open, it was empty, but it was just the case. And she saw it and she laughed. You know why she laughed? She said to me that she knew that wasn't me. You see, she knew me to the extent where she knew that no matter what, I would never use a Rough Rider. So it's good when your woman can judge to say, this thing I know my man probably would do, but that's definitely a no-no. She never had a reaction. She just laughed and she said, was it your brother? And I said, yes. And that was the honest truth. So it's good for a woman to know her man in a certain way. The next thing about me with that is, you know how some men, when they go out and do their thing, when they get back home, they're weak and they're tired or useless. For me, it was the opposite. She could tell because if I do something outside, I'm more charged up when I get home. So she could tell. So it's good for women to know their man's sex cycle like that. You know, Sword of Life, Wagwan. I don't know if you're here. Grace, you said, man, why did you say that?
Wait a minute.
Because
Cosmic,
y'all a
I still,
lot harder on women than women are on y'all, and I find it quite interesting.
Hard as in you're talking about like how I talk about the false hair and so forth?
I'm saying, like, yeah, that's part of that. And then my thing is, most of y'all only say something about false hair because you're like, oh, okay, it has something to do with your self-esteem and yada yada yada. But the thing is, it's people who literally go through certain things, like far as like alopecia, or like it's different stuff that actually can cause leukemia, different stuff that can cause a woman's hair to fall out to where, okay, now she just don't want to walk around with a dang on scarf on all the time. So she wants like to put a certain amount of like some type of hair in. Even if she put a lace there and then put braids in it. The thing is, it's like certain requirements. I don't think that you actually try to understand what a person is using it for. You only have your own little judgment on, okay, this is just what I want. And it's like, okay, but you're not even gonna question this person. This person could be a perfect girl, but she has false hair, and it automatically just dismisses. Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, okay, let me explain because I know what you're doing. Like it's just like sometimes we're talking about a category of woman, but just because we say woman, is like women start to perceive that we're saying all women. No, if we're talking about 304s, we're only talking about 304s. So I'm talking about a woman that's just every day is just makeup. It has nothing to do with covering surgery, or I'm not even I don't care whether it's self-esteem or not. I'm talking about the fact that she's just wear makeup and like she just cannot be in her own natural skin. So if she's willing to make a change to say, okay, you want to talk to somebody like me, but you're not gonna be walking beside me with that. So are you willing to give that up? That's where I'm at. If she's willing to give it up, yes, I can do
But
this.
that's my point. You asking her if she wouldn't, for example, like I just said, one who's literally walking around to where she cannot grow her hair back because of a certain disease that she has. You asking her to give it up to walk around looking like a bum all the time, pretty much with just a scarf on her head. Like, that's what I'm saying. You're only focused on what your desires are and what you want, and that you can't put up with it. But at the same time, you're not actually understanding that she'll be like, okay, cool. Well, sometimes I might can do that, but not every time do I want to walk around and have a scarf on my head. And I'm not gonna walk around with my whole front of my head, like all of my hair missing. That's the point. You're only focused on yourself. You're not actually considering her or her reasons.
Okay, listen again.
Hold
You're doing
on,
the
hold on,
same
hold
thing.
on. Cosmic, let me say something.
Okay, go ahead,
All right,
Yeshua.
Grace. Yeah. Grace, what happened is that let me break it down from my perspective, from my point of view, yeah. Again, I don't know the reason for her wearing it, but in getting in having communication with her and seeing, we're definitely going to question it because we know what we're looking for. If the case is, remember what Cosmic says, that when he says woman, it doesn't mean all women, yeah. And we're not going to be judgmental of all women either. So if let's say for instance you, Grace, have alopecia, I think that's the name of that's the name of
Wilson's
the
wife.
disease, yes. And I met you, yeah, and you tell me that I have this, that, and this is why I do that, and you have a great personality, yeah. You have everything that I'm looking for. There is no reason I wouldn't talk to you and you wearing it. I have no reason. I would never judge that because I know the cosmetic part of it. But we're speaking about women who they have their hair loaded, they braid it back, and they still throw on this with a lot of makeup and all of that stuff. That's where we're coming from. We're not coming
Exactly.
from, yeah, we're not coming from the point of view where it is she's going through stuff. No, we'll love her even more, yeah. And we're going to see how we can even get her hair grow back. That's the type of men we are supposed to be. You get me? And once you have the spirit within you, Grace, definitely men with the spirit have to be on that same level. We're not here to judge, but we're talking about the women who take it like I have to. When they have some, I see women with good hair, like a lot of hair, and they still want to wear wig and all of that stuff. No, if I met a
But
woman
that's
like
the
that,
point.
Grace,
It's people who can have actual good hair and still your hair is not as sustainable as the actual other hair that you putting in. That's my point of just saying I used a person actually going bald and that's why they wanting to. But it's people who actually could have a head full of hair, but still it's certain styles that they're desiring or that they want that they cannot actually wear with their actual hair, or it's not at the length that they want it to be, so they can't actually do it. And you're just saying just because, oh well, you have good hair, so at that point you just should be satisfied with it. It's like everybody doesn't want to walk around looking the same all the time. And this is not for me even speaking on fire, it's just myself. I'm speaking in general on this can go for different people. This can go for just more than one person, and there are different reasons. Just because, of course, I know women, so it's like I hear what you're saying, but I also hear in the background of what basically you are saying and what you're not saying. Because yeah, you're saying, oh, okay, well, this is like, okay, if this person is actually like doing this, I might make an exception and all of that. But at the end of the day, even the person can have a head full of hair, but at the end, like it's still other reasons why they want to switch up. It's I might want to actually wear this because I don't actually want to put real color in my hair, so I decided to do this. It's like people have different reasons on why they do something.
and you're correct. Yes, you're correct. And this is why it's just like a woman. A woman will look at me and says, "He's not my type." It's the same thing with what you're saying. A woman will look at me and say, "Nah, you're too short," or "I need a man who is this, that, and have this." It's the same thing, Grace. You know what I'm saying? So what we would have to do then, we would have to sit down and then try and iron it out. That's all it is. If you're talking about self, you're talking about I feel like I want to do my hair like this, and if I want this color, it's all about you. It's not about us. You get
But
what I'm
you're
saying?
talking about
So
stuff when you're saying I don't like that, so I don't want you to do that. But you're talking about stuff as well.
right. So we're both talking about self. So
Preference.
in
It's
that
called preference.
yes, in that solution, then Grace, you know what I would do? I would move on. I wouldn't even try to. This is what I'm saying. I wouldn't even try and change her or do anything like that. No, it's a waste of time for me. I would just like
Exactly.
how a woman look at a man and say, I don't want him. Yeah, he's not my type, and she move forward. It's the same way I would move forward. But I would move forward, and I would wish her
But
all the
that's my
best
point.
as
You
I move
moving
forward.
forward from a person who could possibly actually carry everything that you want, but it's this one
It's
thing
not
that you're
everything.
not liking, and it's this one thing that you're not liking, and you're actually just saying, okay, well, look, I can't move past that, so I'm just gonna move around. Or you're not actually willing to compromise that, but you have compromised everything else, so I'm gonna willing to move around. That's still showing that it's some type of selfishness there, and you're only focused kind of on yourself.
But how can it be
I mean,
how
we
can it be
all
selfish to
we
have
hold
your
on. Give me
preference?
1 minute, Cosme.
Yeah, go
Give me
ahead.
1 minute to answer. We all do the same thing, Grace. You are doing the same thing when if you're even if you're not in the position, but by you coming forth with this reasoning, you're doing the same thing because a woman is saying, "Well, today I feel like I want a red hair." You know what I'm saying? Or today I feel I'm gonna go gold because it matches this outfit that I want to wear to this whatever. Yeah. So it worked both ways, and for us not to be
It's not doing the same thing because that's not something that you like. So no, this is not something that I'm going to do all the time. But at the same time, it is certain ways that people want to express themselves differently. Just like a person who's an artist, they have different times where they want to go into different things that they're doing with art. It's just it's different. You can't just hold somebody to one accustomed standard and just say this is how you have to be all the time. You're okay with just walking around with a complete, and honestly, truthfully, sometimes men even switch it up. Men will actually be like, okay, I want dreads this time. Okay, well, bam, I want to cut off all my hair. Bam, I'm finna sew my dreads back in my head. It's like it's different. Like some people want to switch up their looks. Not everybody actually wants to look the same all the time. Or some people, okay, I'm just getting tired of just looking this way all the time. I want to actually do this to make, to actually feel a little bit more like this. Or I see that I look like this with this right here. Okay, this is the type of look I want to go for today. The thing is, it's not always about you and what you want. What about what she wants too?
But Grace, what you're doing is you're saying that if a man has certain qualities, say he has say you have 10 things that you want in a man, but he has one thing, there's one thing that he doesn't have, and you don't want to be in a relationship because of that reason. It doesn't mean that you're selfish. It's just your preference. So if I say, I want
No,
sometimes,
it
hold
is.
on, hold on, you're not hearing me?
I'm definitely hearing you, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't matter if you switch it from a man
No,
to a
well,
woman. What I'm saying to y'all, I say to a woman too if she goes around it the same way. I promise you. What I'm saying to you, and you know this for a fact, I'm going to say to a woman too. I'm not going to switch it up because it's a man and you have a
yeah,
certain
but no,
preference.
what you're doing, no, what I'm saying, what you're doing is you're telling a person that his preference should not matter because the person has these qualities but not this. So what you're saying to me is I should compromise my image by having a woman next to me that is just gonna change her hair to whatever and disrespect my image. No, I can choose not to be in a relationship.
What's
If you
disrespecting?
hold on,
How is
hold
that
on,
disrespecting your
hold on,
image?
hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying is, if I'm talking to you, if I'm gonna make a covenant with you, and you're telling me that, oh, sometimes I wanna switch my hairstyle up to wigs, I'm gonna let you know that that's fine. I'm not gonna go against your desire, but guess what? I'm not gonna place myself in that relationship to where we're gonna go back and forth because that's your preference to wear your occasional hair. It's my preference to not be with a woman to represent me with a false hair.
But
It's
see,
just
that's why
preference.
it doesn't make sense to me because just a
To
couple minutes
you, okay,
ago,
but this
including
this will be
him, but
selfish.
wait, but
But this will
no,
be selfish.
I
It's
heard
to you.
y'all, but I'm saying, listen though, because I've been listening to y'all and haven't said nothing the whole time. Just because I'm making certain, like I'm stating certain things at this point, does not mean that I'm completely disagreeing with y'all. But at the same time, I'm still throwing other things up because he just got through saying not too long ago that, oh, okay, with a person who actually, like, if she cheats and then she's not really this type of woman, she just made a mistake. You're willing to show grace there, but you're gonna actually like be more stern on a look.
Because everybody has their preference. Just like, for example,
So you prefer to be with somebody who's not gonna look a certain way, but you would prefer to be with somebody who will go out and sleep with somebody just because their emotions changed at that time.
well, he would have to answer regarding that. But I'm telling you, for me, if a woman just desire to change her hair to certain thing, that's not a woman that I want to walk with by my side. Just like, for example, if you don't want a man with baby face, guess what? I just gonna have to respect your preference. It's not a law, but it's your personal preference, and everybody has a right to what they want.
I
Preference
feel
is
like this is me talking about whether it's man or woman. When it comes into preferences, far as okay, a logical preference, as in I don't want a man who doesn't take care of his kids, or I don't want a man that actually don't want to sit and actually listen to certain issues that I have to help me come up with certain situations because I don't know how to solve them as a woman because of my emotions. Those are the type of preferences that are reasonable. But to go off looks, to go off what
it's
you're
not about
doing far
looks.
as it just I'm not just saying you, I'm talking about women too.
No, I'm saying looks. It has nothing to do with looks. It's
It
about
has
image.
no, when I'm saying that because women can say you too short, so I don't want to talk to you. You don't have goals in your mouth, so I don't want to talk to you.
That's different, Judith. That's a different logic because you cannot do anything about short or your complexion. Those are things that you do not have control over. But I have control over if I choose to do certain things to my hair. So this is why I said it's two
But
different
this is why
analogies.
I'm saying, regardless, it's understandable to have certain preferences. Again, like I said, to say I don't want to talk to this man because he don't actually take care of his children. That's one thing. To say I don't want to talk to this person because he's not actually considerate of how I am, and when I get into certain emotions of how to pull me out of it, that's actually understanding. But when it goes off looks, when it goes off what you're considering as a preference, to me, that doesn't make sense
To
on
you,
either side, whether it's a woman or a man. It doesn't matter.
but you're still, this is what I'm saying. You're going back to you. It doesn't make sense to you. So if something does make sense to you, you're saying that it should make sense to nobody else. So if I value imagery or reputation, if I value image and you do not value image, you're saying that it doesn't make sense to you because you don't value image. So this is what I'm saying. We are not trying to put ourselves in each other's shoe to say, okay, I can understand that the image means so much to you, so
Can
I can.
image change based off person?
Pardon me?
Can image change based off person? For example, what I'm saying is you feel like this is gonna push this type of image. But if you go into a crowd, do you feel like those exact people are gonna look at that exactly how you do?
My what I value has
Yes or
nothing.
no?
No, but what you're doing is you're putting other
No,
people
I really want to know. Yes or no?
For me, the image is the same. If it's in other people with other people are private, it's the same. I just don't
No,
want a
because
woman.
image change off the person that's viewing. Just
What
because
do you
you
mean?
look
What do
at
you
it
mean by
that way,
that?
because this person has that on, does not mean if y'all go in the front of a crowd and they see her having this, that they're gonna automatically judge you in a way that you think they're gonna judge you.
But you're still going back to the crowd. I'm saying in my house, right next to me right now, I do not want a woman with wig, makeup, fake hair, baby, what do you call it, edges. I do not want a woman right here beside me. I do not want a woman by my side. So it has nothing to do with the external. It's my eye. Can you hear the thunder clapping? Even the gods are in alignment with what I'm saying.
No, the
Yeah,
guys
man.
are not. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the
man. Give
day,
thanks.
if the guys were in alignment with what you're saying, one thing about it, the guys wouldn't have even made an example far as like Hosea to even be something like that. The
Hosea has
guys would have
nothing to do
made
with
it.
it.
Because
You're
I'm
going
just
into different
saying, it's certain
ideas.
examples that are being used that would
No,
actually completely go inside with what I'm saying when I say some
that has
things are
nothing to do
y'all
with
are
image.
saying are human things, are
But
things
you
that
are
are
stepping away from imagery. We're talking about a man that values image. Stop
what?
going to other things. I said, I do not want a woman next to me that has false hair, makeup, edges, all of those things. My image I'm talking about in the home has nothing to do with the public out there. So it's just my personal preference because image means a lot to me. And if you can't represent my image, I do not want you next to me. That's all I'm saying. It's a preference.
And all I'm saying is, I understand that that is your preference, but to
Right.
me, and based off what I have read biblically, y'all are doing things that is human like. How y'all are going off of small things because you can completely dismiss a person that actually has every other thing that she's supposed to have, but because of that one thing, it becomes a problem, which is fine.
But
That's on you. It's fine. That's on
Right.
you.
but
But my
but
whole
Grace.
thing is, at the end of the day, that does not take away from me saying that that's what's wrong with a lot of people, whether male or female.
Grace,
But
can I
Grace,
ask a
listen
question,
carefully.
Grace?
Yeah.
Let me get.
Hold on.
Hold
Give me
on, one
one
second,
check.
one
Masha,
second.
Masha, let him
Let
speak
me.
because he
Yeah.
hasn't spoken far since he's been here. Let him speak.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
no problem.
Grace, let me ask you a question. What's your thoughts on this? You're there?
I'm here. I just pushed mute because my
Okay.
baby was moving at the moment.
All right. Cool. Yeah. I want to ask you a question. Based upon this, why do we judge a female in a swimsuit, two-piece swimsuit, different from one that's in a bra and panty?
Why do you judge a female that's in a two piece and a
Yes.
female that's walking around in bra and panties?
Yes. Why do we judge that different?
Personally, I don't know because if I see a person walking around in a two piece, especially one that has a thong and a bra, I feel like it'll be the same thing regardless if it's a swimsuit or not. So you tell me.
Perspective on it, because I mean, at the end of the day, you have persons on both sides to say a woman should not come out in a bra and panty, but yet still would accept a woman in a two-piece suit. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, which is exactly what I've been saying about perspectives, and it changes based off the person. So this is where I'm
No
going at to
problem.
say it still doesn't excuse it. But to me personally, far as talking about a person who can just go outside, whether it's a swimsuit or not, and have a thong on and a bra and just walk around with no covering or anything, I don't care if it's literally you walking around with literal underwear or a like an actual swimsuit. To me, there's still something wrong with it because it looks the same to me.
So what is wrong with that? It's the same imagery, but yet still we have two different concepts of it. You'd agree?
Yes, but it doesn't matter. It's about being covered. That is one and the same. It is like at the end of the day, that's about being completely covered. You don't have to. First of all, when I say completely covered, I'm not talking about covered from head to toe as if you're Muslim. But what I am saying, walking around on with your whole bottom showing just because it's a swimsuit and you think that's okay, that doesn't make sense. It's still children out here. First of all, you're not even supposed to walk in front of your own children, exposing yourself. So you're gonna walk in front of other people's children and yours in a two-piece swimming suit like that?
But yet still we have different perspective on that same imagery. Wouldn't you agree? Because it's, I guess it's about the time and place for it. And just the same way with now the
It
preference.
shouldn't be, because regardless, that is still to me undergarments. That's why they wear something to go over those things. That's why they give you something to go over.
All right, I don't think I'm getting your perspective on it, but I'm just bringing that as something that even within that, it's the same imagery, but yet still persons would view it one way or another to say it's okay for the two piece, but it's not okay for the bra and something else, which is the same imagery. But hey, I was hoping we'd get an
A
understanding from
person
it.
is gonna actually have to be able to completely explain it, because this is why I'm telling you, regardless if it changes or not, there's still somebody exposing themselves. That doesn't change. Maybe it might change off that person, but if we're just going off scripture, that does not change. It
Yeah,
does not
but
matter if it's a swimsuit or whatever it is. That does not change.
I see where the problem is. Grace, this is what she's doing. Masha and Gary, this is what she's doing. She's trying to put your personal preference into scriptures, and your personal preference. If the scripture doesn't say you should value imagery, but I value imagery, so you're saying that my preference is not in alignment. So
That's
it's
not what
like,
I'm doing. That's what you think
no,
I'm
hold on,
doing.
hold
So
on.
say
Let me ask
that
you
you see
something.
what
No,
you
hold
think
on,
I'm doing.
hold on, Grace. Would you be in a relationship with a man who wears his pants at the bottom and bleach his face? If he has all the other qualities of a husband, but he bleaches the face and he wears the pants at the bottom, would you be in a relationship with him?
That's not the things that I face here.
Huh?
That's not the things that I face here.
No, no. I know. I'm just asking as an analogy. So, would you be with a man that has all the qualities of a husband, but he bleaches the face and he wears the pants at the bottom?
That's a no. But
Okay,
still,
so
that's not something that I face here. So that's
no,
not
I'm
something
not
that I
asking
have
you
to
what you
think about.
face. It's an
Because that's
example.
not something that I have to think about. When you're asking me something, I should be able to tell you my thoughts on it. And my thing is, with that, that's never something I have to think about here, because that's not something that our men do.
Okay, so what say for example you move to Jamaica and you meet a man and he has all the qualities of a husband, but he bleaches the face and he wears the pants at the
No,
bottom.
and
Would you be with him?
for not doing that is
Yeah.
going strictly off health wise.
Huh?
Health wise, that could actually affect not only you and then how you view yourself as a person. That could actually be something that can be passed down genetically, just from things that you're putting into your body. So no, me personally,
What do
no,
you
and
mean put
those
in
are
your
my
body?
reasons.
Bleaching is just rubbing the cream on the face I'm talking about.
Yes, and the chemicals that you're using, regardless if you're rubbing certain lotions on you, regardless if you actually putting certain perfumes on you, chemicals that you're putting on the outside of your skin seeps through your skin. Yes or no?
Right, so wouldn't it be the same for
Okay.
the hair and the makeup powder? Isn't it chemical?
Do you not think that everybody is using certain chemicals? You don't think that people change what they use so they wouldn't have certain chemicals?
Okay.
Do you think all makeup has chemicals?
I don't know anything about makeup. I just know I don't want to be with a woman that is wearing makeup next to me. That's all I know. I don't care what's in it, chemical or
But you
that's all.
asking something, so I'm telling you. Do you
Oh,
think all makeup has chemicals?
Hold on, Grace. Let Masha go ahead. Go ahead, Masha.
yeah, I mean, I'm going by I'm going by her reasoning, and then she was saying, yeah, because I have to listen to her carefully. She was saying like, if this woman have everything that you need, but she loves to wear wigs, and she has no reason for wearing wigs like alopecia, etc., then we would give up a good woman. But what happened is that when she also draw that what she said or thought, she's also saying scripturally, um, what I'm saying, it doesn't make sense to her. But what happened is that we have to understand that the creator knows what we want, the creator knows what makes us happy, and the creator will provide for us. So even if this woman, yeah, have everything except that, that means she doesn't have all things. If this woman have everything except that, I since you're reasoning on a spiritual level, I would say that the creator will provide a woman that will definitely satisfy
Okay, I
me.
have a
So
question.
yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for everybody then. So at this point, would you all judge women the same? That basically this man carries everything, fire spiritually and everything, but he's not financially secure. Is that okay for her to not want that man?
Of
Okay,
course, that's your
I'll
preference.
answer. I'll answer that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What happened again? It's again. It depends on what she wants. I would even say wants what she need to make her happy. If the man doesn't is not financially capable of taking care of her and her responsibilities, then she have all right not to be with him. That's how I view it. I yield.
Of course, that's her preference as well. But you can't condemn them by the law to say, "Oh, you're wicked because you don't want to be with a man that cannot provide for you financially," or "Oh, you're wicked because she wears makeup for no reason and you don't want to be with her." No, you cannot do that to a person's personal preferences. A person's preference is a person's personal preference. So you cannot try to justify it by the law.
To me, your preference just has to make sense. And honestly,
Why
truthfully,
does it need to make sense?
because, like I just said, to just literally dismiss something that could possibly be in your face because it doesn't have a certain appeal to you, that's actually like a problem. It
Okay, so
doesn't
hold
make
on.
sense.
It goes back to what Gary was saying, because if a woman believes that, oh, wearing, sometimes I want to be feminine, I feel more feminine when I wear my dresses or certain outfits, and another woman is like, oh, I can't wear that. These are two different values, two different perspectives. So at the end of the day, if this woman wants to dress this way, it's her personal preference, and if this woman wants, it's her personal preference. So people are gonna have what they're comfortable with. It's about imagery. You prefer to be wrapped up in something over your beach wear. Another woman just want to go in just the bikini.
Nah, that's not a preference. That's a whole different. That's actually complete scripture to. And if you like that,
Yeah,
like,
but
come
what
on now.
about the woman? No, this is what I'm saying. You keep going back to scripture. So I'm saying, I'm
Because
not.
that is scripture. You think that it's okay for a woman to walk around in
Yeah,
public in a
but
thong?
what I'm saying is, listen what I'm saying. You cannot hold a person accountable to scripture who does not go by the scripture. You have to use it to judge people who go by the law. So you're not gonna say a random
Is there
person.
not such thing as like a moral law as actually like a universal law?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so you don't think that that's something that's considered universal law or moral
No,
law?
it's hold on. It's not it can't be universal. The reason why it can't be universal, Grace, is because even to this day, you have tribes that don't dress like what you're thinking dressing should be. Yeah, you have to put all that into consideration as well. That it's not because we are indoctrinated to think this way that it is lawful. Yeah. So you definitely have to think about it. There are many tribes who don't wear the women them don't even wear tops. They just have a little, you know what I'm saying, covering, and the men just have a little. It's different. So it's not universal. I will say that.
Even those women, they still have like a skirt, even if they have like just what you're talking about, far as like a wraparound. Even with their pants, they still have something that's kind of loose fitting off. That's not actually literally a string in their behind.
I don't know if you have ever. I mean, go onto tribes and
I'm
they're
no no no,
dressing,
I know exactly what you're talking about because
right,
I
and you
know
will see
tribe. But
skinny.
even
Yes,
if they're
and you will
women
see.
who don't wear tops at all whatsoever, when it comes to their bottoms, you do not see them with a string in their behind. You do not see them walking off like walking around with nothing at all when it comes to covering the secret parts.
You have not seen all the tribes then. That's what I would have to say to you. You'd have to investigate that. But I've seen tribes who trust me, it's
Okay, so what are
naked.
the name of those tribes so I can look?
No, I don't. You can Google it. It doesn't matter. You can Google it. I never try to find out names of tribes, but I've been in the tribes. So when I say that, I've seen tribes who dress, and I would say in our time, oh, they have no moral. No, we can't say that. So dressing is not universal. That's all I'm saying to you, Grace.
But even with our very own people, like if you should go to the common beach nearby, right? There are people gonna be there that don't have the same values or morality or things of that nature. So you go right now to the beach, right? You're gonna see people who dress those way.
But we're
So
talking about in a time where basically everything is given into the hands of the wicked. So even if it's people who are tribes that are actually not into the far as the normal society, at the end of the day, the whole world regardless if they're on the outside or the inside, is given into the hands of the wicked. So far as how they're morally carrying themselves, that is okay at this point because we're literally living in a wicked time. That does not mean that when we actually go and switch and the world begins to go a whole nother way, that these things will be actually considered morally acceptable.
Right, so this is why, so when that time comes, that's when you can go out to judge with the law. But I'm saying, like today, if you go to the beach right now in Jamaica, right, you're gonna find Jamaicans that are not under the same moral principles as people who are more enlightened, or women who are more, you know, concerned about the imagery. You see
But
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
think people in cities should be judged the same as what he's talking about with tribes. I know that's I don't think that that actually should be judged that way. You are still held to a certain standard, regardless if you respect that standard or not, and you just feel like I don't have any shame, so I'm gonna do what I want to do. That's cool, but that still does not mean that you're going to be actually put on the same understanding as people who were literally grown up in huts and walking around how they were than a person who's literally grew up in a society where if this was a couple little years back where your grandma would have smacked you for walking outside like that. It is no way.
When I say where I'm coming from is that you said it's universal, and I was telling you, and I'm showing you, and it's factual. It's not
No,
universal.
I didn't say that it was universal. I said, is it not? I asked the question. I was like, is it not actual laws that are more of universal or actually like morally accepted? So when I'm saying that, I'm saying that, okay, people can step outside of what would be considered the cosmic law, but does that make it right, regardless if it's a tribe or not? I'm asking, is there not a standard of literally a universal law? That was what my question was.
Right, and my answer to you is there's not a universal law that governs. That's what I'm governs dress code. If you go back if you go back, I wouldn't even use that. If you go back 10,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, the dress codes are even different from today, and that's what I want you to take into consideration. Okay, I'm tribal, so I know what I'm saying when I'm talking to you like this. We don't know anything about the Bible. Yeah, the Bible wasn't our book in terms of morality. Yeah, but I
I
have
don't
innocent.
care how far back you go, you're not gonna find nobody that actually was comfortable walking around in a thong.
You might call it tongue today, but you have tribes, and I assure you, research it. You have tribes that wear even the guys have thong on. We call it
They
thong.
have a lot more. No, that's a man. Far as how a man, because first of all, a man can walk around with no shirt on and still be judged a whole completely different way. If now we do now, I know because I've just heard y'all say this. We do understand that women are held to one thing and a man is held to another. Correct? Do we have an understanding on that, or does that change?
No, I've never said that, so I don't know if my brother said it when I walked away.
Andrew,
Yeah.
is it one way that a man can go about things and another way that a woman can go about things?
Some aspects of the law, you're speaking from the law now. Yeah, some aspect of the law that goes for men that does not apply to women, and vice versa.
Okay.
Right.
So far as a man dressing like that, especially far as in tribal, because even going into tribes, they're still at a standard on what a woman can wear and what a man can wear. They're still considered something where this is men dressings and this is women dressings. Regardless if you go into tribal or regardless if you actually go into other things, it's still far as something that's considered man and woman dresses.
I think you're speaking from two different perspectives, because maybe when you speak, you're speaking from like the tribes from the Israelite, from the Bible tribe. But
No.
what I don't, well, the reason why I wouldn't agree with that is because I see things on internet with African tribes where the women, they just put a painting here, there's no top, it's just a painting and a little skirt, and they're doing their ritual dances at certain times of the year, and when you look in the audience, they all just the same, it's just a painting. So that looks like it's just the tribe, for me. And there's nothing immoral for
Again,
the
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you're correct. Again, even in the Americas, there were so many tribes here that you can't pinpoint that they have to be dressing this way, that way. It's. I mean, there were
I'm
like
not putting
one.
all tribes in one category. What I am saying is, in each tribe of its own, they have something that a man can wear and something that a woman can wear. Everybody still has a standard. You're not going to see the man and the woman walk around with the exact same thing, regardless of tribe or not, is what I'm saying.
Well, definitely you'd be correct. I mean, I would accept what you're saying because again, the anatomy there is different. So definitely the way the man made makes is I would what let's call it underwear would be different from how the lady make her underwear. And you're correct. I would go with that because again, as I said, I'm coming from a perspective that I understand quite well. So yes. But then it wasn't about again, it wasn't about we went deep with it because it wasn't about what a man wear or whatever. We're talking about how it looks in terms of skimpiness, in terms of no dressing per period, like how we dress today. That's where we're coming from. So you went deep, and I accept what you said. Yeah.
Right. So back to certain things, the preference. You know what it leads to when you bypass your preferences? It goes to settling in relationships. You know what it means to settle in a relationship? Meaning, I want four things out of a man. I want four things out of a woman, but this person only has these three. So I'm gonna do what? I'm now settling. That's what settling is. So you know what happens when time you go to that what feast is coming up now? That the feast of harvest, and you see the man with the four qualities that you want, or you see the woman with the four qualities, guess what happens? No, you don't want your husband anymore. No, you don't want your wife anymore. Because you were only settling. People don't understand what settling is. When you push certain things aside, they call it compromise. You know these are all the qualities that you're looking for, but he didn't have two or three of them and you choose to be with him so you can spend 5 years just settling. People are in 10 years relationship just settling. But the moment that they find everything that they want, the person with that spirituality, that financial thing, that this and all of these things, trust and believe that they are going to abandon their partner because now they find what they really want.
What's the difference between qualities and preferences?
What's the difference between qualities and preferences?
Yeah.
Because preferences can be, I like this and I don't like that. So it has nothing, for example, um, I can like the fact that a woman wears her natural hair all the time, natural face. That's my
Mm-hmm.
preference.
Right.
But the quality, her quality now is that she has a certain standard about her, certain values, certain
But
principles. Those are the
that
qualities.
just comes from like basically how you think about it though, right? Because basically actually lowering a person quality because they like something that you don't like does not necessarily automatically lower a person's quality.
No, no, it does lower the, and I don't lower. This is what I'm saying. I'm not lowering the person. I'm just choosing not to be. That's this. It goes back
Right.
to what I said. Yeah. So
That's
it has
why
nothing to do with
no,
lowering.
no, I understand what you're saying because that's why. But I was just trying to make it clear because I'm like, okay, so there has to be a difference between preference and qualities
That's why I
because
use that word.
just
That's why I
because
use
you're short as a man doesn't mean that your quality automatically lowers.
no, 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 no. It has. This is what I say. It has nothing to do with qualities or standards and stuff. No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just your own personal preference. That's why I use the word personal. It's to you. It's not about the other person or the crowd out there. This is why I said it's not about she being beside me in the public, even here next to me. I do not like that. I do not want that. So that's it for me. It's preference, and you should not um condemn a person for their own personal preference. Just like Masha says, if the man is not in a certain way and the woman doesn't, you can't condemn the woman for not wanting that. You see what I'm saying? The man can have all the features, but his belly is big. Probably you don't want a big belly man. That's your preference. A woman can have all the qualities. Probably she doesn't have the backside that the man wants. That's his personal preference. But you cannot judge them by the law. Shalawan Arawak. Arawak, Masha, I think this is your people. Arawak Prince, West Indians. Manners and respect. Masha, this look like
Thanks
one of
and
your
praise.
tracks.
Boilo. Boile.
Oh, that's your tongue too?
Yeah, that's in Arawak. It means high. Bohile.
Bohile. Oh, okay. Romain, you wanna come up, Romain? Um, you wanna come up, Romain? Come back up. Yeah, she made a good point because a lot of us need to, I think, we need to be clear on what preferences actually are. You know, because a lot of people don't know that some things are just preference. But the thing is, most of the times people end up just settling in relationships and they are not even aware that they're just settling. It's only when they find that person with everything, they end up committing adultery or abandoning their partner, and then they don't even know that they would even make that decision because it was their subconscious.
But I still think that if we just gonna go off of that and a person settles and because this person is short and they go find somebody who's taller that has everything and you automatically gets the urge to go out and cheat on your partner because they're not as tall as this one, I still think it's something wrong with you as a person. But I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
because we don't
You tell
justify
me.
adultery. We don't justify adultery. Yeah, of course. I'm not disputing that either. But the reality is that most people they end up settling and they don't even know that's settling. Because settling can be you can long term settle down. You can be settled for 15 years, 10 years, and don't even know. But you just know that there's something about this person that and sometimes it affects even the attraction in the relationship. Because you know that this big belly man doesn't really turn you on, doesn't really get you excited. You see what I'm saying? But at the time that you got in the relationship with him, it was convenient because probably you were at a place, maybe mentally,
You
physically.
can't, but as a woman, like, aren't you actually supposed to progress what you get? As in, you get something and you're supposed to actually turn it into something more?
So what are you gonna do? Take his big belly and turn it into something more?
No, actually, you're supposed to actually, okay, well, babe, I'm going to change our diets. We're going to go out and do this a little bit
Hey,
more. We're going to
Cosmic, it
go
ain't
out and do
easy, you
that.
know.
You speak life into your partner, correct?
Yes,
So
but
that's what
that
I'm
doesn't
saying.
alter the
Some
fact.
things can be changed. Some things can be okay. We're gonna start off here, but this is not where we're gonna end up 2-3 years from now or a year from now mentally. So the thing will be more of what I'm actually looking for and what I actually my preference is. If you're content in being where you are a year prior to where like far as where like a year from now, if you're actually content being in this stance, I don't want to talk to you because you're actually like you just want to stay in one place. You don't want to actually progress. You don't want to move. I can't do something with that.
So right, so it goes back to what I said. Like if I'm gonna talk to a woman and I see she's wearing makeup, I'm gonna find out what her attachment to the makeup is. So if she's willing and ready to say, yes, this is something I can give up, I can enter a covenant with that person. But if it's a case where she's not willing to or ready to give up that, I'm not gonna enter a covenant. It does not make sense for me. So for
But
peace,
that's why I said it first because I agree with that. I was saying, okay, but that would be okay. If she just want to wear this every day, then she's only thinking about herself. But what if it's just like, okay, it's a sometimes thing, or okay, well, I'm not gonna wear it every day because this is not something that you like. But sometimes I just feel like I want to do this a little more because maybe this is how I express myself, far as artistically. This is just something that's kind of fun to me. This is something that I just enjoy doing. So no, I won't do it every day. But you might catch me doing it maybe once or twice every 6 months or however that may be. That asked you that at the beginning. I never said a person who's gonna do it every day.
yeah. But I'm
That
saying,
that Cosmic. That is why, Grace. That is why when you meet a woman or a woman meet a man, they have to know each other. They have to be open. Put your cards on the table. Flip it left, right, and center. Let me know because I want to live in a happy home. I do not want to look around today and see Mary, and then when I go to bed with Mary, Jane wake up. No, I don't want to go through all of that. I want to know that my home is happy and you're happy. So it's not about me or you, it's about us coming together to make that unit work. And if I do not like that, I will not engage with a woman who is like that. The creator will provide me with a woman who is my type.
and
I
will
yield.
provide her with a husband that's her type. So is that's it, all I'm saying. If she wants to wear makeup once in a while, guess what? You are free to find that husband that will appreciate that. But I'm not that husband that's gonna appreciate your makeup once in a year. I don't want that. And that's simple. There's a question on the board. So this is why it's good to, before you lie with a woman, it's good to lay out all the cards. What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that are acceptable and not acceptable? What are the things that you can tolerate and what are the things that you cannot tolerate? And now with tolerating, toleration goes with a certain period. So guess what? If I can put up with your makeup for the first 2 years of the relationship, right? You know that after 2 years that grace period is done. So can you give yourself 2 years to give up makeup and the fake baby hair and that dopey powder that you put on your face? Can you give yourself 2 years? I want to know that, because I'm not going to go further if you cannot agree, not by writing, but you have to agree that you are willing and ready. And that's what it's going to be
That's
like.
what I'm saying. So you're giving them a certain amount of time to want that. And
Of
if a
course.
person's actually willing to do that, that's
Of
what I've
course.
been saying from the beginning, though.
But that's why we say
But
willing
that's
and
what
ready.
I've been saying from the beginning.
But we talked about the willingness and the readiness. That's all we talk about. If the person is willing and ready, that's all that matters.
But
So
that's what my point. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, well, I understand that, but that still has to get a person accustomed, one, to that, and two, it's like, okay, well, babe, at this point, I have went 2 years without doing it. If I just actually want to feel a little bit better today, can I actually go about doing it? Not that I actually feel a whole different way, or I think that I'm ugly or anything like that, but today I just want to put a little in my look. Is it okay? So that's not okay for her to come and ask you that? Because that's not something that you like at all?
no, I'm not an extremist, what I'm saying is once we pass the stage of no more makeup, that's just it. That's just it.
Hey,
So after 5 years, you shouldn't come and we're not supposed to have a makeup conversation after 5 years. You see what I'm saying?
hey,
Go ahead,
Cosmic,
Marshall.
easy. Yeah, Cosmic, you're willing to compromise. Me not compromise, virgin. Listen, if she comes to me and says, baby, today me feel like makeup, the answer gonna be no. She's supposed to know, say, no long time. This is not a game thing and a feeling thing. You know what I'm saying? This is honesty. This is self-confident. This is making your partner happy, vice versa. And let's move forward. That's why we have to vet who we're dealing with. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I don't care how pretty you are. I'm gonna vet you, and vetting mean go in your mind and know your mind and make sex with your mind and see where the creator is in your mind, and then we can move forward.
All right.
I
Let me say
yield.
something. Let me say something. Personal experience with my ex-wife, right? You see my videos with when I was with my ex-wife like this. You think I could be on live wearing this shirt right now with my ex-wife? So she had her standard of imagery just as I had mine. So guess what? If I take out this shirt to come on live, she's gonna take it off me. No doubt. So she has an image that I had to maintain while I was with her. You see what I'm saying? So if you see me in a shirt crushed, not iron, just know that I'm unmarried. But with my ex-wife, I could not do that. Not say could not as in control, but is to that she doesn't want that.
Yeah,
So
to make her happy. Yeah.
so this is what I'm saying. So it's the same way. You have your personal preferences. She doesn't like when you dress in a certain way or crush, not iron your shirt, and she doesn't want that. So I can respect that. So I can
Hey,
dress
listen.
something. Huh?
No. Listen, I have to go, my brother. Thank you for the invite. Hey, Grace, it's a pleasure reasoning with you. Impact. I love your patient, my brother. Much love, much respect, yeah? So
No problem, man.
definitely,
We
you know
link
what I'm
up in our
saying?
WhatsApp group.
Yeah, man, give thanks and praise, man. You already know. Much love and much respect, yeah.
Boheme. What's the word
Tainote.
again? Boheme. Boheme.
Bohile. Yeah, mean hi. But Tainote mean the spirits govern over you.
Tainote means
Yep.
the spirit govern. And Boheme. Boheme what?
Bohile.
Bohile.
Boili. Bohile. Mean
Bohile.
hi.
All
Yeah.
right. Probably soon we shall share the same tongue, right?
Yeah, man, give thanks, man. We're ready, man. All right,
All
what
right.
much
So,
love and respect. Yeah, man.
all right.
The
Blessings. All right.
creator,
So,
the creator be with us. Yeah. All
all
right.
right. Protection of us. All right. So,
Yeah.
remains. So does the action of the standard determines the quality. That how you define the quality. If you're still here, would you like to let me see if we can invite him up back. He's saying up on the road. So does the action of the standard determines the quality? What do you mean the action of the standard? Gary.
Yes, man, I'm here, man. Give thanks.
You understand the question? So does the action of the standard determines the quality?
So does the action, I mean, I guess the action of the standard. So I guess from,
Because the action would make the actual standards.
yes.
Yes. So the action is the standard, determine the quality. So yes, it's the action that would determine it.
As well as the acceptance.
Right. So this is why I say, a person can always talk things at the dating table and stuff like that, but you have to know the person by observation, not what they say. This is why I said, even when you dealing with people, like if you're talking to a woman, she'll tell you, I need a guy that's kind, that's generous, that's caring, that this and she'll list all of those things. But ask her what the 3 last men that she's been with, what type of men they were. Narcissistic, abusive, this, that. Those guys match nothing like that, like what they're describing here. So there's a cognitive dissonance, because the intuition of a woman, it seeks for one thing, but the desires and the modern ideologies seek for another in theory. So the man that she wants in theory is not the man that she actually need in practicality. You see what I'm saying?
For me, that would, after the time when we have the conversation, we go back to the Bible and you speak to the manifestation in the practicality. And it's the same way with Adam and Eve. It's if Adam had maintained the standard of staying focused on God, having that conversation, for some reason, Eve was left alone in her thoughts and got influenced somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? So if you have to maintain a standard and the whole thing about compromise, I guess I've learned to not accept that, because at the end of the day, whether you don't appreciate me for where I stand, that's okay. I understand that you have your standards and you should not compromise for that.
Exactly. So the thing is, as a man, you should not become a woman's project. Because I'm telling you the truth. If she starts to change you one by one, I'm telling you that the man that she's going to change you to is not the man that she fell in love with. And after she changed everything about you, because she fell in love with what she saw at the beginning, once she done changing you, she's going to tell you, honey, you've changed. So do not become a project for a woman. And it goes back to what the same thing with a man and a woman from the standpoint of the woman. It's the same thing. Like, you cannot tell a woman that, oh, you don't want a woman that wears makeup and dress in a certain way, but the woman that you're creeping with are the woman in makeup and eyelashes and
Right.
You see what I'm saying? How can you get a natural woman that you say you want, and you're cheating, you're committing adultery with a woman that wears makeup, edges, dopey powder, they call it makeup powder, whatever they call it. That just does not make any sense. You see what I'm saying? So don't be anybody's project in relationship. So you have to be grounded. This is why I said relationships are for people who are self-aware. You're aware of yourself, you're aware of what you want, you're aware of what you don't want. And the next thing that I see they have ruling over modern relationships is compromise. Listen, what are the things that you can compromise, and what are the things that you should never compromise? You do not compromise your non-negotiables ever. If you're a monogamous woman and you want a monogamous relationship, do not compromise your non-negotiable. Whatever else your non-negotiables are, because a lot of people are not even aware of their non-negotiables. They're just trying to write rules as they go along in relationships. Come on, you've been doing relationships over 20 years now. You must know what you do not want, what works for you, what do not work for you.
I think I want to go back a little bit. I don't know if you, earlier in your conversation, you spoke about it. Covenant. What is a covenant?
Covenant.
Yeah, because then, as you indicated earlier, are you going to go against your covenant? Because that basically would be the agreement before. So I just lay it out all on the table. This is my covenant. This is what I'm willing to give. What are you willing to give? What are we willing to put together?
Yeah. So the covenant is where two people agree. So if she and I agree that okay, it's gonna be 2 wives and so forth, or if it's just gonna be one and one, whatever is in that covenant, whatever you guys agree to, it has to be dependent on both. Relationship is interdependent in that case. You understand? Yeah, go ahead, Grace.
So I have a question. The choices
Uh,
that we have now, far as in this society, and maybe in other parts of the world, is still not accepted. Like far as if there were still arranged marriages, or if you were still like assigned to a certain person, would you have these same choices?
if
I
you would
think
have
we
the
had this
same,
conversation last week, right? Or a couple weeks ago, where you spoke about fathers giving their daughters whatever. Was it a week last week or a week before? But I think we had
one
a
of them.
we had
I
a
was
similar
going to.
conversation to say that you still believe in that kind of what do you call
Right.
it?
So
Yeah,
would
Prearranged
you still
marriage.
have them same choices within that belief system of actually giving your daughter to somebody or anything like that? Would you still, if your mom and your dad gave you to a woman, but she like later on you found out that she did your non-negotiables, is it going to be justifiable to the community or to your mom and dad that you leave her?
no, they agree. The covenant is between the two families, not the community.
But is it, that's what I'm saying. So you're still gonna have to put up with your non-negotiables, correct?
Put up with your non-negotiables.
Yours, not mine. Yours. I'm talking about you and your family giving you to, like, basically had already assigned you to a woman, and she is doing a couple or maybe one of your non-negotiables. Are you still tied to that woman?
No, but then remember, if
Why
why
not?
would you? No, what I'm saying is, why would you enter a covenant where your non-negotiable is compromised? Because
Because
remember,
that, but because that's what I'm saying. You said that, but based off what he's saying, last week y'all had a conversation that you still think that it's, basically like you will give your daughter to somebody, or that's basically something that you should do. So what I'm saying is, if we were in those times and that was going on, far as right now, and your parent gave you, like basically assigned you to a person, y'all got married, and come to find out this is what was going on and this is what this person liked, are you able to leave that person?
no, the grounds of the divorce is gonna be the same if we're going by if we're under the law, the same marital law. The grounds of the divorce would have to be the same.
Of
So,
basically she has to cheat in order for you to be able to leave her, correct? And you choose if you show grace or not.
or if she goes into different types of worshiping, because that's another form of betraying. This is why I said marriage is always in the same culture, because if this is how I if part of because part of the marriage is spirituality, like I said, there are different components. So if she start to wander off in fornication, which is porneia, serving other gods, then I can put her away legally, lawfully, right?
Right. Oh,
So yes.
right. But yeah, but okay. So that's if she does those things. But without doing any of those things and she's still doing your non negotiable, you're still tied to that marriage and have to make it work. Correct?
Right.
Okay. So also what you said earlier, far as going off when I believe it was Jacob went and saw Rachel, you said he got to know her for 7 years. But technically if it went off what Jacob's intentions were, which was to go and just get her without having to basically pay his dowry and go like basically off on his own, he wouldn't have known her or the things that she did, correct?
Right,
Because
right,
he
right,
only had to wait 7 years because that was the requirement of the father, right?
right,
So he didn't come in with intention on, I'm finna get to know this person before I choose her as a wife. He seen her, he saw her, he wanted her, and automatically stated, this is the woman that I wanted. Not that he knew her, not that he knew that she was gonna go and worship other gods, not that he knew that she carried a jealous spirit, not that he knew any of those things. He just seen her and desired her, correct?
right.
So with that logic, far as the new age thing that we have, far as we setting certain principles and certain accommodations, and it has to be this and it has to be that, that's actually, far as that's not really normal based off what we're actually seeing.